Alright there folks, hello there, this is Alan recording another comprehensive Magic the Gathering Arena draft video. So, we'll get started with some new Capenna, sorry, not new Capenna, did I just say new Capenna? Oh, never mind, we're going to be doing some quick draft Strixhaven, since, yeah, I stated in my previous videos that I'm not really enjoying new Capenna and it's really straightforward and boring, whereas Strixhaven, yeah, it's a lot deeper, I have to say, if you look at the commons and the uncommons in all the colors, but yeah, we'll get to that. So let's begin. This is going to be bot draft, so it will not be timed. So let's go. I'll just try to explain my picks as much as I can. So pack one, pick one. The rare Efreet Flame Painter is solid. However, not a big fan of red in this format necessarily. So since we're doing these flashback drafts, I'll just be doing these a whole review of the set on things I have missed out, and yeah, come to think about, red is just, if you look at the red commons, they're just not very good outside of like heated debates. So if you end up red, well, you're most likely just want to splash red in either, like, if you end up in a much more controlling, for example, white-black deck that's looking to splash red via Mardu, or you end up in Temur, which is blue-green splashing red, and those are the two best decks in the format. So I'm not really a big fan of this. It's not that, even though it's like a 1/4 double striker, there's not too many ways to enhance this unless you're in white red, which is Lorehold, but Lorehold is one of the more weaker, is definitely the weakest college in this set. So yeah, even though it's like a 1/4 1/4 double strike, it most likely won't be able to attack past much unless you can enhance it. That being said, it is definitely a good card. I wouldn't fault anyone for first picking it, but I think I want to avoid red, mono red cards in this set as much as I can, since they're just, most of the commons and reds are just pretty bad. So red is definitely the worst color, and might not take this. Looking at the uncommons, Karok Wrangler's okay, Grape Shot is okay. Ether Helix does stand out as a nice interaction spell if I somehow end up in the blue-green deck, which I think blue-green, i.e. Quandrix, is the best, not the best, but the second best college in the set, and it's a lot more fun than, for example, than Silverquill, but I think Silverquill, which is black-white, is definitely the best college to kind of be in. But yeah, the Ether Helix is a nice interaction spell. You bounce the opponent's creature, or permanent, any permanent I guess, and then you can return a target permanent from your graveyard to your hand, so nice 2-for-1. So this card is definitely on my radar, and I would take this over Efreet Flame Painter, pack one, pick one. And then at common, Lash of Mouse is kind of like the Black Shock. And yeah, it's pretty decent, but there's also one of the best commons in the set with Inkling Summoning if I somehow end up in black-white. And this is a nice lesson to have, and it's definitely the best lesson in the set. And then there's a fine finisher with Elemental Masterpiece. Most of the time I'll be splashing this if I end up blue-green, and not necessarily going, I mean, obviously this is more of like a Prismari flavored card, but for the most part, a lot of the, there's not a lot of good ramp going on in red, and most of the ramp spells tend to be like the creatures, and the problem is that if they don't stick around, it's going to be a huge drawback to going to Prismari, whereas in Quandrix, most of the ramp comes from just cheating out your lands. So yeah, I most likely just splashes in Quandrix. But I think the two best cards here are like Ether Helix and Inkling Summoning. Again, I don't want to first pick a red card, and I don't think this card's even that great. It's kind of a strange card that wants to be in a red-white Lorehold aggro deck where you're playing more creatures than instances and sorceries, but at the same time it only rewards you for having instances and sorceries. So it's kind of like a card that plays good in red-white, but its ability is better off in a blue-red Prismari deck where you're trying to play lots of instances and sorcery. So it's between these two. I think I'm just going to take Inkling Summoning. This is the first draft for Strixhaven for this video, so I think I'm just going to draft the best deck in the format, which is black-white, and hopefully it's open. But my second pick here would be Ether Helix. This would be the much more fun option if I'm to end up in Quandrix. So yeah, the thing about Strixhaven, even though there's a lot of very good commons and uncommons, there's only really kind of like two colleges you want to lean towards the most, since the power level of them are just quite high, and that's black, white, and green blue. And to a lesser extent, you can splash a bit of like off-color stuff, but I'll get into that later. But yeah, we'll take a Inkling Summoning. Right, Killian Ink Duelist is one of the most busted uncommons in the set, even though it is 2 colors. Do not scoff at this card. There's a lot of ways to enhance your creatures in the set, and being able to, I mean, not only enhance, but if you have some removal, this gives it a nice discount. So, and it's also just a 2/2 lifelink menace. If you ever get this down on turn 2 and the opponent's unable to kill it, you can just run away with the game. So I think this is one of the best uncommons in the set, and yeah, it's a uncommon that I would take over every common over every other common. So there's not much room to argue if this is in this argue against this with everything else in the pack. But I'm still going to go through some other choices. Practical Research, flying card draw spell. Even if you splash this in blue-green, it doesn't hurt, but blue-green has a lot of card advantage already, even at common, so it's not necessary, but a nice card draw spell. The Mythic is pretty bad. Pop Quiz is okay. Study Break is an overperformer. Actually any card in the set with Learn on it is an overperformer. They're not necessarily busted, but they're just good cards, like, you know, Study Break and Learn, Pop Quiz, and Hunt for Specimens. Arguably the best black common can also just, it's a fine play on turn 2 that allows you to learn. And then there's another Lash of Malice. Mage Duel is a nice removal spell, and then Fractal Summoning is a nice lesson if you end up in blue-green. Solely in blue-green, because blue-green has a lot of access to lands and ramp. You can have a nice finisher in the late game. Not so much in Prismari, unfortunately, because Prismari, again, isn't really good at ramping, even though they're playing a bunch of these expensive spells. A lot of their mana creatures don't necessarily tap for mana. They do give discounts, but they're quite fragile, like the 3-mana 2/2 flyer. So I'll just take an Killian following up Inkling Summoning, so we're getting well rewarded. Had we taken Ether Helix, I still think I'd take Killian here. The card is just that good that I'm willing to pivot off course just to move into Silverquill for Killian, so let's take it. Right, what do we have here? No, unfortunately, no Orzhov flavored cards or Silverquill flavored cards. Rutha Mercurial Artist is one of the best uncommons too. It's kind of in the same tier as Killian, but I would still take Killian first over Rutha, since I think Black-White is the best deck in the format. Whereas Rutha, even if you splash it in Quandrix, the card is quite busted, so we'll take it here as the best card and one of the best uncommons. Cultivate would also be nice if I end up in Quandrix. This is a nice 2-for-1, since you can not only draw a land off of this and replace itself, but it also allows you to ramp and splash and fix, so this card's also quite excellent. Field Trip is also a nice ramp spell, helps you learn. Not as good as Cultivate, because Cultivate can find off-colored lands, basic lands, but this is a good green common. And green is pretty deep in this format. There's a lot of excellent green commons as well. I think the best 2 colors in this format are definitely green and white, and then black and blue are kind of medium, and red is just really bad. So yeah, we're just gonna take Rutha. The card is just too incredible. It's not gonna go in the same deck as Killian or Inkling Summoning, but it's just the best card, and it's quite busted if you can get this going. So we'll take it here. Right, there's a Burying Books. Nothing amazing in Silverquill, unfortunately. Burying Books is also one of the best commons in the set, and easily the best blue commons. Most of the blue commons, unfortunately, aren't very exciting, you know, outside Burying Books. Like, you have Serpentine Curve and I guess Pop Quiz as the next follow-ups. They're just fine, just like some of the black commons. They're not incredible like the green and the white ones, which allow you to, develop a huge tempo advantage and learn, and a lot of the green-white commons are just very efficient. But Burying Books is excellent, even if you're not casting this for 5. I mean, the ability to cast this for 3 mana is quite excellent, and even if you put their target creature second from the top, you're still denying them a card spell, a card for them to draw. And sometimes they don't really want to draw into their creature again, and it's just like Run Out of Town in New Capenna, where some people prefer to bottom their creature instead of putting it on top, depending on what type of creature it is. If you can Burying Books on a reasonable creature that is not amazing, especially if it's a creature that gained a bunch of counters, and then you put second on top, you just deny them their draw step, and they have to reset their counters again. So yeah, Burying Books plays really well with Rutha, and then yeah, nothing amazing in black and white. So we might just have to pivot into hopefully Quandrix splashing Rutha, and there's slight chance we end up in Prismari if there's nothing but blue or red cards. Cemetery Sage is also just not amazing. Unfortunately, there was a card that I took highly in the pre-release. I remember when this set first came out, and I honestly regret it. So we'll take a Burying Books. Alright, so now there's a Quandrix Pledge Mage, pick 5, that's pretty late. There's also Guiding Voice, which is one of the best white commons as well. And then some okay 2-drops, some more Quandrix cards. Scourge Colony is a nice 2-drop as well. There's also Introduction, which is a fine lesson. I think the 2 best cards here are Quandrix Pledge Mage and Guiding Voice. And yeah, I mean, I will just pass up Burying Books, and there was like no amazing black or white cards in the previous pack. So I feel like Quandrix is just more open, seeing a lot of these Quandrix cards in the same pack, and not so much the Silverquill cards. So I'll take a Quandrix Pledge Mage. I think this card is quite excellent, and unfortunately it is a great card if you can constantly grow this, but it if that does fall prey to Burying Books, keep that in mind. But yeah, this is definitely a scary threat that can pump itself. Scourge Colony could also be arguable too, just to have a stabilizing 2-drop, but I still think I would take my first Quandrix Pledge Mage over it. And yeah, it's probably... all the Pledge Mages are good, by the way, but I think Quandrix Pledge Mage and obviously the Silverquill Pledge Mage are the 2 best. So I think a Pledge Mage hopefully just pans out. Alright, we're still seeing some Quandrix cards. Eureka Moment is one of the best commons in the set, and this card is quite excellent. Just a nice 2-for-1 that bridges you from the mid to late game, and even helps you ramp, so this card is great. And sometimes there's some cards in Quandrix that can reward you for having 8 lands on the battlefield, and then sometimes you can even ambush the opponent by casting Eureka Moment at instant speed on their turn, ramp out land, and then, like, for example, enhance the Scourge Colony we saw from the previous pack. Shadewing Laureate is pretty decent too, but sometimes if you end up in Silverquill, you might not have a ton of flyers, but you know, a 3-mana 2/2 of upside is fine. But I feel like after taking the Pledge Mage, it's best to take Eureka Moment. Also, don't mind Needlethorn Drake. I don't mind a copy later, but I still think Eureka Moment is a better and definitely probably the best Quandrix common in the set. The reason why I say Quandrix and not, for example, like Burying Books is because it's two colors, so it kind of just represents the college. So take a Eureka Moment. Alright, and we're getting a second Eureka Moment. Alright, I do like Eureka Moment more than Elemental Masterpiece, but I think given how Quandrix is so deep at common, I think it's best to just diversify and make sure that you have all your playables, and Elemental Masterpiece is a powerful finisher we can splash, which I like. Also seeing the Silverquill Pledge Mage and Eager for a Share, which is a good 2-drop, so Quandrix and Silverquill are both open, but I think Quandrix is more open, and or Temur, and I think we'll end up in a better spot given how the packs went. So yeah, I would love this, but I think we just diversify. Take an Elemental Masterpiece. It's a great finisher. It would be on the splash, but it's just a good card. And then ooh, there's a Elemental Summoning and a College Quandrix Campus. Arcane Subtraction is a card that also overperforms, you know. It's just a really nice cheap instant. If you have a nice big creature, you can sometimes negate that creature's power and toughness, get a nice 2-for-1 since you can learn off of this. So this is very interesting. I can take the Quandrix Campus, or I can take the Elemental Summoning, which is a fine lesson to have. I've drafted decks in this format before which don't have a lot of lessons, and Elemental Summoning is okay. I think the Fractal Summoning is definitely a lot better. This definitely won't be difficult to cast, but I think I'm supposed to just take the Quandrix Campus here. Since we're looking to splash and fix, it's really important to pick up some fixing. Plus, if you don't pick up these campuses later, you can actually end up in a worse spot than someone who does, since the Scry one in the late game is pretty relevant. So I'm going to actually take the Quandrix Campus over probably Elemental Summoning, which would be my second pick, and then hopefully get an Arcane Subtraction or one of these later, or at least a Fractal Summoning. I think we should just take the fixing. Alright, not much else here, like some random medium sideboard cards. This can fix too, but I don't mind an Archway common in case we don't pick up any red-blue fixing. I don't ever want to play more than one, but since it can be a bit of a tempo loss if you needed to spend turn 2 just to tap down your land and get this out, since there's cards like Killion in the set which can overrun you. But I'll still take it here just in case, since there's nothing else exciting in this pack. And then, ooh, we'll take a Fractal Summoning as an excellent lesson. Practical Research would also be a fine splash, but there's obviously Eureka Moment to add common. And, you know, there's a lot of ways to just generate card advantage in this set. This card, I feel like, is kind of replaceable. Still an excellent card, no doubt, since digging 4 cards is pretty deep, but I don't think it makes too much of a difference. Fractal Summoning is a great lesson to be seen late, pick 10, so yeah, good sign that Quandrix is open. And then, in case we need some fixing, I'll take a Campus Guide. It's not amazing since you put the land on top, but if you're getting mana screwed on like turn 2, this is a nice card to have out. So it's definitely not unplayable. It's definitely better in Silverquill where you're playing these dorky, 2/1s on turn 2, and reasonable if you're splashing. So I'll take it here. Not sure again if I'll end up playing it. And then not much else in this pack. I've actually seen people main deck Reject, and it's actually been pretty decent. However, it's not amazing in this set, keep in mind, given the fact that there are some cards like Elemental Masterpiece which generate tokens, and then there's a lot of powerful instances of sorceries running around due to abilities like Magecraft, which every college wants. But I'll also take a Reject here over a Symmetry Sage. I don't think it matters much, since this is best out of 1, there won't be any sideboard. Alright, in case I need a random 2 and drop, Berfalder is kind of medium, but I'll take it. And then, yeah, not much. Alright, so since Quandrix does seem pretty open, we saw late Fractal Summoning. Hopefully second pack, we can pick up some red fixing and some more powerful cards and bombs. We'll see. So, second pack. Ooh, Magma Opus. Well, I did record a couple of videos last year or the year before, where I first picked Magma Opus and I called it Cruel Ultimatum, which essentially is kind of is, since you can deal damage, draw a bunch of cards, generates some 4/4s, and then tap things down. This card is just one of the best mythics in the set, and yeah, it has the highest win, definitely one of the highest win rates, and it's going to be an easy pick since we can easily splash it in Quandrix. What else is there in this pack? Another Practical Research. Mage Hunter's Onslaught is a good black common. I still think maybe the Hunt for Specimens is still better, since Learn and Lesson are a lot powerful than just 1-for-1 removal, but it's still good. And then there's also Fractal Summoning, which probably would be my second pick if Magma Opus wasn't in this pack, but Magma Opus is definitely a busted mythic, and it's a game-winning card. So I'm happy to take this up, and hopefully we can, again, pick up some blue-red fixing. But this is definitely slam dunk, and this card's really powerful, so take him with Magma Opus. Alright, so no amazing Quandrix card. Ooh, there is Environmental Sciences. I think this is actually the best common in the set. After the first Environmental Sciences, I wouldn't rate it that highly, though. I would still take this over my first Barium Books, Heated Debates, Inkling Summoning, which I think are the best 3 commons in the sets. This is Inkling Summoning. To a lesser extent, there's like Fractal Summoning and all, but I think Barium Books, Heated Debates, and Inkling Summoning as well as Environmental Sciences are the top commons, but I think the first Environmental Sciences is the most important one to pick up over all those 3. So I'll take it here over the fixing. Hopefully we can pick some Learn, and essentially if you play a Learn card, you essentially fix, and this card makes your deck really consistent. Best card in this pack is probably Closing Statement. Not sure if I would take Closing Statement over Environmental. Maybe, given that's in Silverquill, but it's close. I'm going to take Environmental Sciences here. Another good lesson. Alright, Quandrix Apprentice is pretty busted. Although there's also another Rutha, but I don't think, if we're going to be splashing red, I don't want multiple Ruthas, and then it's awkward since if you already have a Rutha out, you can't play the second one because it's legendary. But yeah, if you're in Quandrix Apprentice is pretty busted. It's a nice 2-drop to play early, and then if you can just jam a bunch of instances of sorceries, you can essentially just draw lands from the top of your library. Sure, they are lands, but you're actually thinning your library out, so it really helps over second Barium Books. And there's also the Heated Debate, which I was talking about. So there's a debate in the set: do you take Barium Books or Heated Debate first? I think you actually take Barium Books because it's less. Because again, you don't want to be in a red-based deck in this format. Even though this is a very powerful common, it's better to just end up in like blue-green anyway, splashing red, or maybe in black-white splashing red, but black-white's more of an aggressive deck anyway, so you don't want to splash as much. Not saying you can't splash in Silverquill, but it's better off if you just curve out. So we'll take a Quandrix Apprentice over Barium Books. I can see arguing Barium Books since it's more flexible, but I don't want to miss out on Quandrix Apprentice when I'm already doing the whole teamer thing. So yeah, this is a great on top. So we'll snatch it here. Alright, this pack is a little bit unexciting and dry. Frost Trickster, in the start of the format, everyone thought this was like one of the mythic commons in the set. Overall, it's decent, don't get me wrong, this effect is always decent, but it's not amazing in this format, unfortunately. The problem is that the Quandrix decks aren't trying to be aggressive necessarily. You're looking to mostly grind and ramp into your spells, so you really can't turn. So you most of the time on turn 3 you want to just run out, for example, Field Trip or Cultivate, and you can't really just spend your whole turn just running out of Frost Trickster. Plus this doesn't even trigger Magecraft. It's a fine comment, but I think I just take Expanded Anatomy here and hopefully pick up more Learn. I think it's important to pick up your first Expanded Anatomy, and even outside of a Silverquill deck, which this is going to be at its best at, it's still just good in any deck. So I'll take it here over Frost Trickster. I don't rate Frost Trickster that highly. There's also Whirlwind Denial, Fine Counterspell, and usually snatches something good. And then Humiliates is probably the best card in this pack, but we're not in Silverquill, so take Expanded Anatomy. Hopefully we pick up more Learn and Lesson, although we haven't seen a single Learn or Lesson yet. So what card is in this pack that we're looking at? Leyline Invocation's a fine finisher. There's also Snakeskin Veil. Snakeskin Veil is also quite excellent. 1 mana to give a creature hexproof is quite nice. I'm not really worrying about having any finishers, since I already have double Elemental I already have Elemental Masterpiece and Magma Opus, so I can see the argument of just taking Snakeskin Veil, just a very efficient spell, and this is also a Mystical Archive card, so it's really difficult to get later. So I'll take a Snakeskin Veil, also another cheap spell to go along with Apprentice or the Pledge Mage, so I'll take it here. And I hopefully get some Learn and Lessons, because yeah, it's not looking great if we don't get any. Alright, this pack is not great. The best cards like Return Pass Caller, which I'm not going to splash. You can argue splashing this in Prismari, and it is definitely a powerful card, but yeah, I mostly like to splash this if I end up in like a controlling Mardu deck. Pillar of the Age is also pretty solid. Arrogant Poets, I'm not splashing for Pigment Storm or Pillardrop Warden, so I guess we just take another Lesson and hopefully pick up some Learn, since you know, our deck is looking good, but we need some ways to learn to generate some value. Alright, I do like Opt. It's a cheap way to enable Magecraft, and yeah, it's quite excellent too. There's also Guiding Voice, which is the best card, but yeah, no amazing Quadrix cards. Waterfall Aerialist is kind of like bottom of the barrel filler, just doesn't enable any synergies, quite fragile, bad at blocking, which is, you want to block more when you're in Quadrix speed, you're looking to outvalue and outgrind instead of tempoing them out with an aggressive card, so kind of falls in the same category as like Frost Trickster, but yeah, I'll still take an Opt. Alright, there's a Field Trip finally, a way to learn. Golden Ratio isn't amazing in this format. Again, there's a lot of ways to generate value and card advantage that you don't need it. And it's awkward if you're curving out on turn 3 just to play this. And yeah, if Eureka Moment is always just a guarantee 2 and allows you to ramp. So I'll just take a Field Trip. It's just a nice way to help us learn. Yeah, helps us ramp, which is kind of what we need. So we'll take it here. Not much else, and then I actually don't mind Test for Talents as a main deckable card. This is an improvement over Negate, even though, you know, and yeah, it's definitely an improvement over Negate, even though it only answers instances and sorceries. It still does a lot, since you can spy on their hand, and you can remove multiple copies of that card if the opponent has in their hand. Usually a card like this is not incredible in other sets, but in this set there's a lot of, again, these instances and sorceries running around, so I don't mind Test for Talents. We already have Snakeskin Veil as kind of our pseudo counterspell, so there's an argument for taking Letter, but Letter is not all that impressive. I already have a lot of turn 3 plays, and I'd rather just have some tap lands instead, so we'll take a Test for Talents here. And then we'll probably take our Prismari Campus. Biomathematician is not great, it's just understated for what it does. And yeah, only has a bit of minor synergy of fractal tokens. So we'll take a Prismari Campus, help us improve our red splash, and then Arcane Subtraction. Pick 11's a nice gift, nice way to learn and serve as a combat trick. So, and then yeah, we barely have any creatures, but keep in mind, like, these are creatures as well. Same with the Lessons, the fractal summoning. So hopefully we get there. We're gonna be pretty instance and sorcery heavy. Couldn't main deck Whirlwind of now. We'll see. It's probably just worse than Test for Talents and Snakeskin Veil, though. I don't know, maybe just take a random Curates, since it's just cheaper, put in a sideboard. But usually effects like this aren't amazing, aren't amazing limited, and it's not great in this set either, because you'd rather just play cards that do a similar role but learn, like Pop Quiz. So, we'll see. Alright, second pack went alright, we picked up some good uncommons, but we definitely need to pick up more playables, because we have all these Lessons hanging around, and then these lands, so we're kind of short on 7 playables, so we're more at like 12 cards, so we definitely need to pick up more playables in next pack instead of focusing on Lessons. Alright, so there's Zimone. Zimone's pretty decent. I recall this card just being okay. And it's probably just going to be my pick here because I'm in Silverquill. It's nice since this is going to allow you ramp, and if you can get up to 8 lands, you can just draw 2 per turn. But, yeah, most of the time you're just casting Eureka Moment. We're just going to take it here anyways, because there's not much else. Mercurial Transformation is not a very exciting lesson. Yeah, it's just not great. And then there's Elemental Summoning, but we have a bunch of lessons and not a ton of ways to learn. So, we'll take a Zemo. Pack 1, pick 1, I would probably just take Flunk here, honestly. Just a good removal spell. And I'm not opposed to Witherplume, honestly. I think Witherplume is quite decent. I think in terms of colleges, I obviously stated that Silverquill is number 1, Quandrix or Temur is number 2. I think number 3 is actually Witherplume. And then the red decks are in last place. I would go Prismari, and then I would go Lorehold as the worst guild in the set. But yeah, black-green is pretty deep in this format, and black is pretty solid too at common. I can argue black is actually better than blue in this format, but I think they're both close. I'll take a Simone here, makes sense. And what else do we have here? We have Environmental Sciences. No amazing learn or lesson cards. Ooh, never mind, there's Igneous Inspiration. Yeah, this is also one of the best uncommons in the set. It's kind of at the same tier as Quandrix Apprentice, Rutha, as well as Killian. So I would actually take this over Environmental Sciences, pack 1, pick 1. Yeah, it just deals damage and learn. I think I like it over Tezzeret's Gambit, which is fine, you know, Divination is never wrong, but if you're going to cast Divination, you're still going to lose 2 life, since you have to pay the Phyrexian mana with it, and it's 4-mana draw 2 and proliferate. It's not all that exciting. It's pretty decent though when you have Fractal tokens, but we're looking to make some Elemental tokens, which don't care about proliferating as much. So we'll take an Igneous Inspiration, almost pass this card up, and then I might actually play Campus Guide in this deck, since my fixing is not all that amazing. We'll see. Take an Igneous Inspiration. And then what else do we have here? Nothing much. I mean, there's Expressive Iteration, which is great, but it would have to be on the splash. Random Strategic Planning is not too different from a Curate. There's also just a random lesson with Introduction to Annihilation, which I also don't mind as well. Man, there's no like blue-green cards in this pack. Like the best cards are actually just Eye Twitch, Silverquill Pledge Mage, and I guess the Expressive Iteration. I guess I'll take the Iteration here. The Introduction is fine, like you play in a late game, but the fact that they draw a card is kind of awkward. So I'll take Expressive. Not sure if I'll play it. It is a nice card advantage type of card, but it would be on the splash. Alright, there's another dual land here. There's Needlethorn Drake, which I could take. There's also Vortex Runner, which could be a fine win condition as well. And yeah, it's fine, but I think it could just be worse than Needlethorn Drake. There's also an argument for taking Witherplume Pledge Mage. That's just a random beefy body on turn 5, even though it's double green. It just blocks the ground quite nicely. How many cards do I need? So -7, so we really need a lot of playables, so I don't think we want to go for the land. Maelstrom Muse is quite good, but it would be on the splash as well. So which card do I want here? Very interesting. I already have enough. I already have some decent plays on turn 3. Also some decent plays on turn 2 already. So I could argue actually just taking the Witherplume Pledge Mage. Sure, it's double green, but it's a big body, which can help us block the ground on turn 5, which is kind of what we need instead of these 2 cards. You know, Needlethorn Drake is also again fine. I guess Needlethorn Drake could actually be better. I guess it can just trade off somehow and deal with some annoying flyers. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna take Needlethorn Drake actually. You can still play it early and it's pretty decent. There's not a lot of 1 toughness hate in this set either. It's just really rock solid. Actually, let's actually just fill out the curve. Yeah, our curve looks something like this. Yeah, this at 5 is okay. I think we can play like a little bit more cheaper version. Let's just take Needlethorn Drake. I like a copy. Alright, Ether Helix. There's also second Quandrix Pledge Mage here. There's also Negate, which is worse than Test for Talents. There's also another Burying Books, which is great too. The problem with Ether Helix, let me tell you this, is that if you don't have any permanents in your graveyard, the problem with this card is that it just doesn't, yeah, you can't actually cast it, which has happened a couple of times. So you really need to put a permanent in the graveyard, so at times this can be kind of awkward, and we don't really have any permanents to sack. Like, it would be nice if we have some sack lands that we can sack just to enable this, but it might be down to just take either Burying Books or Quandrix Apprentice here, and I'm probably just going to take us Burying Books over to Ether Helix. There's another Quandrix Apprentice, yeah, it could be a fine win condition, but I think we should be fine in terms of win conditions. I think we'll get there. Let's take up Burying Books. I think it's probably just better than Ether Helix. And then, yeah, speaking of win conditions, Leyline Invocation is a nice finisher on 6, and we have a huge gap. Overall, nothing powerful in this pack, so we'll just take a Leyline Invocation. And then there's an Ether Helix. Do I want a second Field Trip or take a Professor's Zoomancy, actually? This card is also one of the best commons in the set, I think. Or this could arguably be the best green common. I mean, they're all kind of close. Professor, Field Trip, and Mage Duel. Maybe I wouldn't rate Mage Duel since this is a good removal spell. There's also another Elemental Masterpiece, but again, I think our late game is good. How much Learn and Lesson do we have? We have an Igneous Inspiration, a Field Trip already, a Test for Talents. Not too many lessons, but I feel like we just want the 4-drop here. It helps stabilize the ground. The 1/1 token is quite nice over Ether Helix, over Field Trip, over Elemental Masterpiece. But yeah, the packs are pretty deep. Card's great. And then, yeah, I could play a Letter of Acceptance just to allow more fixing. There's also Explosive Welcome. I can argue splashing this, but we have a lot more exciting things to splash anyway, so I'll actually take a Letter of Acceptance. And I guess this is a permanent you can get back with Ether Helix, but it's not all that incredible either way. And then there's this pack which has a bunch of nothing. Maybe I need a random 2-drop with Reckless Amplimancer. I'm not splashing for Pillar Drop Warden. Keep in mind this card has like kind of reach, which people forget about. Yeah, I'll take an Amplimancer. There's also another Archway common. I'm not sure if I'll play 2 copies, but it does improve our mana fixing. I don't think I need a second Campus Guide. And then, yeah, I think a random Strategic Planning if I need more playables. I hate running into those packs where there's like so many like good Quandrix cards in a single pack, and I have to only take one and I miss out on everything else. And this kind of feels like it because we're kind of light on playables. So, alright, a Quandrix Campus doesn't hurt. That's pretty nice having 2 copies, and then we'll probably have to just throw in some filler cards, but our deck looks pretty solid. So first things first, let's get rid of the lessons that we're never going to main deck any lessons. And then we're definitely not going to have access to all of our lessons since we don't have that much learn. Let's see. Yeah, only like 3 learn cards, but it's fine. We have some options at the very least. We're probably going to be grabbing like either Environmental Sciences, Expanded Anatomy, or Fractal Summoning since we have card advantage with over 8 that Introduction to Prophecy is not all that amazing. So speaking of filler cards, what can we throw in? I guess Reckless Amplimancer could be okay. Could be fine. We can maybe pump in the late game to get an attack across. It's not all that incredible, but I'll take it. Could take a random Curates. There's also Expressive Iteration I could consider as well. Yeah, I could splash for Expressive, but I would maybe need to throw in another Archway commons. Not sure if I want to play 2 copies though, because the fact that you need to pay for it is kind of can be a bit of a drawback. There's also an argument for splashing Pillar Drop Warden, like we could just go more into red if we want to. So how many red spells are we splashing? 1, 2, 3, 4, so we need at least 6 red sources. So how do we count our red sources? I guess Learn and Lesson can count as a red source since they can fetch Environmental Sciences. There's also a Campus Guide, Letter of Acceptance. So yeah, maybe we don't need as much fixing. I could just run Curate though over Expressive Iteration. There's also an argument for actually splashing the Pillar Drop Warden, but I hate the fact that you have to sack it. So I think Curate is going to come in because it's just a nice way to dig. It's just a nice way to dig. That's the reason why. And then yeah, final cards between Expressive and the Pillar Drop Warden. Expressive is just a better card overall, I think. I'm kind of afraid that we might not have enough win conditions, but with Rutha, if we get her out, we can just copy some of our expensive spells, assuming we get there. I could also be kind of crazy and run 18 lands, but that seems like a bit of a stretch since I already have Letter of Acceptance allowing me to ramp. So, you know what, I'm just going to take Expressive Iteration and try to splash it since it's just a really good card anyways. And then, looking at the mana base, I guess we want to just blue and green first, and then care about red later since we have fixing for red. So how many blue in our main deck? Probably 9 sources of blue. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 8 since these can count as 9. And then probably 8 sources of green. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that counts. And then how many red sources? 4, 5, 6. 6 red sources could be interesting too. mean, yeah, I could just follow the AI and go for something like this. I could even adjust a bit where I want maybe a little bit slightly more blue than everything else. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I could maybe afford to cut a red source and then add just an extra blue source. So we have 9 blue sources to cast our 15 blue spells, 8 green sources to cast our green spells, and then we should have 3, 4, 5 red sources plus the ones at common to cast our red. So this could be okay. And then, yeah, not much else here at common I care about. There's an argument for strategic, but I mean, but it doesn't draw us the card. I guess it does. But this is instant speed, I guess, so that's just better. And instant speed can play well with outer counter spells, and then Eureka Moment and Burying Book. So yeah, I guess that's better than this sorcery speed. Alright, let's give this a shot, see how it goes. There's Magma Opus as our finisher, so... So the Quandrix decks can fall prey to the very aggressive Silverquill decks, because the thing is, you'll be spending a lot of your early turns not really developing the board as much, and you'll be taking most of the time on turn 3 to ramp, so it's a bit of a tempo loss, but if we can get to the late game and stabilize, we should be able to just take over. So let's see, what do we have here? Opening hand. Well, I don't mind a letter acceptance. I mean, we don't have 3 colors yet, but it could be okay. 2-drop and the 3-drop. It's not the worst, and then hopefully we can pick up some red or blue to get the elemental masterpiece. So we'll try it. Right, are you opting? Sure. Alright, we got our blue mana, so we should be able to cast elemental masterpiece in a few turns. Even main phase curates. Not sure why you would main phase everything. Right, even Mill's 2 good playables, so I'm down for that. This round didn't have Necromancer, next turn we can run out Leather, and then we'll probably just play a tap land afterwards, so we're seeing what we draw to. Right, let's move to combat. There's also Buffalo which can ambush this, but honestly, I'm fine if it does. It's a fine 1-for-1, and gaining into 2 I think could matter a bit. Let's see if he counters his Letter Acceptance. If he does, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I have some, I can always like Eureka Moment and draw into one of our red sources. Right, so if I play an untapped land, I have the potential to pump. But I think we just want to get this tapped land down, I imagine. So, yeah, let's move the attacks first. Yep, no Flash Color, and then we'll play a tap land. End of turn we can Eureka Moment and also ramp. And then we should be able to cast an Elemental Masterpiece the next following turn. Opponent is playing a pretty slow game. Let's see if this gets countered. Quandrix Pledge Mage, that's a good one. And we can maybe bounce it back and see if there's a bunch of counters on it. Ooh, we have our own Quandrix Pledge Mage. I might want to play this first before I play Elemental Masterpiece. I guess I can play like Rutha and Quandrix Pledge Mage to have some fun, and he doesn't have any blue mana available. Rutha might not stick around, but it's fine. Let's turn on Rutha here. She's pretty busted if I can copy the Elemental Masterpiece too. So I would need like 9 mana total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Close to 9 mana. We'll just run out the Pledge Mage, and then I should attack first maybe. But now he could ambush me, maybe a trick, so I don't think I attack into this. I should definitely attack first, since I would have Burying Books active, but this is fine. We'll see what he casts here. So we can run out land. I can play Elemental, but it's not as fun if we don't copy with Rutha. So I think I'm just going to move to combat and attack here. And then see what's up. If I pump this, I can still keep up Burying Books if the opponent's going to be aggressive. We'll see. Or I don't need to pump it. Maybe end of turn we can at least scry. instead. At least if we have access to a 5-mana Variant Books, in case he doesn't attack with this, we can bounce it back in a turn. So maybe it's fine if I don't pump, and if he does block, I can pump. And then, yeah, alright, we'll have him take it. And the nice thing is I can also Variant Books to bounce Rutha back in my hands. You can't bounce Rutha without an instant or sorcery, but if you have one, you can do so, we'll see. And a turn will Scry, we don't need any more lands. I could also just bounce this. One place Teach, by example, very interesting. Alright. Be a sweeper. Let's see what this is. Serpentine Curve, that's not bad, and Rutha can also bounce both. So I'm probably just going to do that anyways. I could also bounce the Quandrix Pledge Mage. Maybe bouncing this is better. Oh no, let's just do this. Although, I will be taking my whole turn off. But I think maybe we just do it now in case it gets too scary. I could also bounce a 5/5 just to annoy him. Since this is going to also just grow, so yeah, let's just do that maybe. So in a turn, bounce. And then on the stack, use the copy our Variant Books. And then bounce tokens back. And then this way our Pledge Mage is going to get larger. And then we can bounce a 5/5 to offset his draw step. And then once they go. And then can I attack with this? Probably not. Do I want to run out Elemental Masterpiece? Probably going to take the risk and run out Rutha first. And then next turn try to do Elemental Masterpiece. And then, yeah, we'll just say go. And we get to, again, send him back, waste his draw step, and if he's attacking, that's fine. Scry end of turn. Ignis Inspiration isn't bad to answer the Pledge Mage, so let's hope our Elemental Masterpiece doesn't get countered, because I'm definitely going to cast it, so let's go. And even if it gets countered, I guess Quandrix Pledge Mage can do something about it, so. And I guess he can counter the first. I guess, yeah, if he counters the first copy, then the thing is, then the copy will resolve, so this is really powerful. You can do some silly things with it. I'm still not going to attack the 6/6 because it can grow even larger. So we'll pass the turn and see what the opponent tries. Maybe he has a Variant Books here to set us back as well. I can also Rutha and blow up the Fractal next turn as well. I don't know what this opponent is doing. I guess he might just be, Alright, I probably just want to copy the Ignis Inspiration then. And, I'll probably just do it now. And then we can even learn twice, which is interesting. And then this will grow large. And then I can still attack the ball. So what do I want to grab? Probably Fractal Summoning at this point. And then I could grab an Introduction to Prophecy to dig deeper as well. I don't need any more Fixing. I could also take Expand Anatomy. But we're going to have some large creatures, so I'm going to actually take this Introduction. And then, do I run out Rutha, or do I run out the Introduction? Probably Rutha, but let's attack first. You can see a Variant Books here on the 8/8. Each could be double Variant Books. Alright, I mean, we're still going to get a decent attack and hopefully no Sweeper. Alright, he did have double Variant Books, fair enough. But the thing is, he doesn't have Rutha, so we're still doing a lot of damage to the opponent regardless, so I'm fine with this. And then we can cast Rutha, maybe copy our teachings, or I guess he's just dead, so never mind. So yeah, Quandrix actually prefers to flood out in this set since there's a lot of expensive spells and Rutha can copy them. So let's go. Let's play another game. Right, well, this hand's okay. We can maybe counter some instances or sorceries early. It's not incredible, but I'll try it. Maybe we can snatch like a field trip or something. That could be quite huge, especially for playing green. So I could leave this up, but I think it's still correct to run out Reckless Amplemancer. I guess he's could be splashing black, not sure. I guess he ran yeah, he could be splashing black. Yeah, we'll just run out the Amplemancer then. We just need to get on board, and then next week we can keep up some of our instances. Even though I could like counter a Eureka Moment or something, but I guess it's like so it could be his Witterbloom ramp or something. Usually you don't want to really ramp in Witterbloom. It's more like a grindy deck that's trying to play a lot of life gain synergies. But there are exceptions, of course. And I twitch, that's fine. So I could just attack here. If I attack, there's a chance he blocks, and if he blocks, I get to yeah, I get to eat his land. And I don't think there's anything single that can destroy me here. With single black, I guess there's a 1-mana Lash of Malice, but I still think it's worth attacking. And the opponent takes it, so that's fine. So we'll keep up our test for talents, and then we'll see go. Could counter this Environmental Scientist to be annoying, but it's really not that scary. I mean, I could just to take a peek at his hand, deny him some, or just counter that. I mean, what else am I doing this turn? Let's counter it. And then let's take a Spy on his hand. So he has a removal spell and a large 6-drop he's looking to play. Ooh, he has a second Crushing Disappoint, so we can also exile that. What else is he playing? So he's playing like Witterbloom Sacrifice deck. No amazing bombs. Maybe the double Bookworms are definitely cards that I need to keep in mind. So yeah, he has a removal and Leyline Vacation, so that's fine. And then we can also Eureka Moment, instant speed, combat, and then I'm fine just attacking here. As opposed to keeping up Arcane Subtraction. And I'm not sure if I want to run out my Leyline just to get it killed by Mortality Spear. I'm hoping he actually Mortality Spears my Reckless Amplemancer. The opponent doesn't bite the bullet, so fade it out with Arcane Subtraction, we'll see. I still think we remove just to find more answers. And then, ooh, Elemental Masterpiece isn't bad, although it's going to take a while. So I could attack the Pump instead. Quandrix Apprentice is also decent. So I don't want to run out Leyline knowing that he has a Mortality Spear. I could make him cast it next turn just to waste his turn, but it's a huge mana investment. So I think I'm actually just going to attack, run out the Quandrix Apprentice, and then say go and see if he wants to kill it with Mortality Spear, and if he does, then I'll Arcane Subtraction and generate some value off of this maybe. Or he just runs out Leyline Vacation, sure. Right. I guess I'll just use the Campus, although that's 4 mana, never mind, and I do need to tap this. Right, still doesn't bite the bullets, we'll just pass the turn. Can run out Zimone to have fun, but I think it could just be the turn to just run out Elemental Masterpiece. We could afford to maybe take 6. I could also run out Leyline, but it'll just die. So, probably just run out an Elemental Masterpiece here. And then, yeah, we'll just grab maybe a Campus. Although, if I grab an untapped land, what happens? I already have a Campus, so I probably don't need to scry twice. We'll just take an island. Should be fine. Black and double blue anyways, and we'll see go. And then we can even try to triple block this. Just hope he doesn't have 2 spells. He would need the Mortality Spear and do something else, but I think this is okay. If he Mortality Spear is the 4/4, then hopefully this still dies. Or maybe I should have waited, I'm not sure. Hope he doesn't have anything else. Alright, I messed up. I should definitely just taken it maybe and then just kept up the Leyline Vacation. But now we can Leyline and then keep up, I guess, the Arcane Subtraction, and it's also negated, so that's quite good. Do I need another island? I guess I'll take an island. I could also attack here to see if he bites it. And then I can Arcane Subtraction if he blocks, which I don't mind. Could also just run out Zimone, to be honest, since his 8/8 blocks his 6/6 quite well. Right? Hopefully doesn't have another movement spell, so yeah, I'm hoping that terrible block didn't cost me the game. And he just passes, so now I can start drawing cards with Zimone. So first things first, I'm fine. I can maybe draw first with Zimone, and then see what I get. Since I have 8 lands already, so we get to draw 2 here, which is a lot. Burying Books isn't bad, that can answer the 6/6. So what do I want to do here? I guess we can still just run out the Pledge Mage and set something up instead, so yeah, we'll just set something up first, and then pass the turn. Burying Books is 6/6, and we should be able to start attacking. We can also attack first. Bookworm, alright, that's a good one too. And then we can just keep buying back that, so this could be a different game now. I can just keep drawing with Zimone, main phase still. And Snakeskin Veil isn't bad, so that can protect my 8/8. So yeah, probably just fine running out another island. Then should I just attack for 8? I think I'm fine since I can Bury Invoke the 6/6. He might not even. I guess I shouldn't have maybe done that because now this can't block the 7/7. Ooh, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Alright, that was a little bit of a mistake, I think. Alright, I guess I'll just take 7 from the Bookworm. And then Burying Books is 6/6. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Just lose away a land, fair enough. Alright, we'll take 7. Dina, that's a little bit annoying if he keeps gaining life. Alright. Only attacks with a 7/7. So I guess if I bounce the 6/6, I still won't be able to deal with it. Could I Arcane Subtraction and do something here? Probably not. I guess I'll just take 7. Should have us maybe stayed back. Since I knew he had double Bookworm and let's read that. But now I can Bury Books to 6/6, which is quite nice. And then hopefully I don't take any more unnecessary damage. And then yeah, we can say go still. Professor isn't bad. I can maybe set up a block against the Bookworm. So first things first, I think I'm fine still drawing. Drawing 2 per turn is really powerful with Zimone. Ooh, there's Magma Opus. Can I cast it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Yes, I can. So I think I can afford to attack this turn and then hopefully cast a Magma Opus to tap down the Bookworm, and then maybe kill the Dina or something. Yeah, I guess we go for it. You can double block, I guess. So maybe I still stay back with the 3/3. I guess I'll be down on Snakeskin Veil, but I think I'm fine casting that regardless. Let's say go. And then probably just kill Dina. Shoot one to the face, there's an Eliminate. I guess Snakeskin Veil doesn't hurt. And I give this -4/-4, I can still block, or maybe I just allow this to resolve. Maybe it's fine allowing this to resolve because I can Magma Opus. Yeah, I think it's okay. We should still be able to win this. So let's cast Magma Opus. So let's deal here, deal here. And then we'll tap these 2. And then put 3 here, and then hope this resolves. And it definitely will since he doesn't have any blue mana. But yep, take an Archway common. And we have 11 cards in our deck, so we do need to kill him before we deck ourselves. Hopefully no Snakeskin Veil. The opponent realizes, yeah, Magma Opus is too busted to play against, so. So yeah, if you end up blue-green, you can do a lot of fun stuff. You can even take the risk and go 4 colors. But primarily, if you want to do some expensive, long variety games, then yeah, go blue-green based. And if you want to just win the game quickly, just go black-white. And this hand seems okay. I'll try it. Not sure if I want to look up a land with Campus Guide. Probably not. We'll just run it out without looking for a land. Although I could use more lands with Rutha, or I can just run out the Archway Commons just to get that online, since it's going to be more awkward in the future. So let's just do that then. And then we can even run out Rutha. We won't have any spells with her, but I still think we just run it out. And the question is, do I block? Probably still don't want to block. I mean, I could bait out removal, but I don't have anything to fall back on, so I think I need to run out the Campus Guide and take it from there. Or just run out Letter Acceptance. I guess I can do both. And then probably don't want any to grab any lands, we'll just decline lands. And then we'll block the 2/2 and say go. Then next turn we can still block and then use Opt to bounce Rutha if we wanted to get 2 Opt triggers. Although it's not that amazing, but right, draw 4, draw 3 is pretty good. Blue stays back. Alright, do I Opt with Rutha? I can do it end of turn, since it's quite a hefty mana investment. If I do it now, I guess I can still replay Rutha. So maybe that's fine. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Since I can still do this. Bounce the Opt. The Opt twice, which is really powerful. Don't mind a Burying Books. Yeah, Burying Books seems okay against green, especially with Fractal Tokens. And then a Eureka Moment seems excellent, so we'll take that as well. And then we're fine, since we can... Yeah, we can just run out Rutha here, since we have the mana to do so. We can do next the same thing with Eureka Moment next turn and draw a bunch of cards. So we'll have our own Harmonize, except we can ramp. Attack. Alright, we can even Leyline Invitation later, but we'll probably do that next turn. We'll just say go, and then, yeah, do the Eureka Moment thing with Rutha next turn. He's getting dangerously close to 8 lands, but I still think we're fine just passing, doing nothing. And then we can block, if he tries to use a combat trick, then we'll do the instant speed thing with Eureka Moment. And then we should be able to copy Leyline, although we probably need to drop Rutha first. So I could argue not running Eureka, but this is so much card advantage, I might as well. And then hopefully find an answer to this Kelpie Guide. We don't have any spot removal, although we do have Igneous Inspiration that can answer this. So we'll probably just need to wait then. That's okay. And then we'll just copy Eureka Moment. Could also copy Burying Books. I mean, that could be quite interesting too, but I think Eureka Moment's fine. And then, yeah, we'll just be drawing a lot of cards, and we can even find other answers, so... This card's... Rutha's pretty busted when you can do things like this. Dig towards our, Magma Opus even. So yeah, we can say go. And if I run out Rutha here, then I can also just Burying Books and do the same thing. I guess I can Leyline too. No, I guess Leyline requires another land, so we'll probably have to wait. Could also just Professor here, maybe just gum up the ground. And then we still have Snakeskin Veil active. Could try that as well, and then hopefully next time we get a land. I can again just do the Burying Books thing here too, but outside of Witherbloom Pledge Mage, there's not much I care about bouncing. And then he still needs to play one more land to get to 8, so this is fine. And then we'll run out the Reckless and start getting some creatures on the board. And then we still have the Snakes and Veil to protect any of our key creatures, so that's fine. And then we can make some 6/6s, hopefully he doesn't have like double Burying Books to mess with us. Yeah, Rutha's severely busted if she sticks around, so... Alright, there's a Carrot Wrangler, but we can maybe reset the counters on it. So we'll say go, and then now we can do the Leyline Invocation thing. So first step, let's run out a Leyline Invocation. Second step, let's copy a Rutha. And And then we still have Snakeskin Veil active, so we get to make 2 9/9s, which is kind of insane. And then we can pass the turn. And then we can start beating down for our 9/9s next turn if we want to as well. Can also get down Rutha and do Burying Books. Wait, that would be how much mana? That'll be 8, that'll be 11 mana, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we just need one more land to run out Rutha. Never mind, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's see if he just decides to tap anything down here. I mean, one 9/9 can go, since I still have another 9/9 to block, so that's fine. I don't need to use Snakeskin Veil that actively, and then now he'll have his, he can grow his flyer, but then we can maybe bounce it back. And now he will have, I guess he'll have 8 mana to activate the Kelpie Guide to tap something down. I guess it's a 4/4s, so he can use the Kelpie Guide now. If he does, we still have some decent blocks. It's not the end of the world, we can still trade for the 4/4. I could also Snakeskin Veil here just to annoy him. Snakeskin Veil is better against a removal spell. But maybe if I do this now, it buys me time because he can just attack with a bunch of creatures. That could be kind of annoying, so let's do this. And then there's Arcane Subtraction, which is great with Rutha. So yeah, I think first things first, we can even attack here if we want to. He's going to chump with the 1/1. Maybe just run out Rutha first. And Burying Books and do the thing, not unless they're attacking. So yeah, I guess I'll just stay back since he could tap this down and attack next turn. And I probably might need a Burying Books and maybe Arcane Subtraction to do some silly things. So, yeah, I guess we'll just... I mean, I do need to pressure him, though. Otherwise, we're not doing anything. So I think we attack for 10, force a chump block with the 1/1, and see what's up. And if he's going to triple block with a 2/2, I'm also fine with that. So, yeah, this implies he might have a Fractal token to throw away in the gutter, so we'll see go. And we can do some silly Rutha things, too, if we want to. But I guess we'll tap down my Professor Zoomancy now. So... we can still like chump block with Rutha and do the bounce thing as well, so it's fine. Bounce a Frost Trickster or maybe bounce one of these other ground creatures. You can also just take 3. Could trade 4 with the 4/4. Or bounce the 4/4s back. Just take 3, that's okay. Take 3. And then I could also Burying Books end of turn. Without the whole bounce Rutha thing, we still have a backup Burying Books. So I could actually Burying Books the Kelpie Guide if I want to. Just reforce him to cast it. And another Biomathematician, so more creatures. So I might just bounce his Kelpie Guide since he's just constantly tapping my stuff. I guess I can still copy a Rutha as well. Oh, I guess he's trying to ramp something out. Let's see what this is. Another Biomathematician, so the opponent is a believer of this strategy. So, that's step 1. Let's bounce Kelpie Guide. I guess he's untapped already, so maybe it's fine just attacking first to see what type of blocks he makes. We can also just do it now. I guess we can set it up next turn as well. So we could also just bounce his Fractal tokens just to annoy him. I think I might be down for that, since then I can still cast Rutha and do the same thing. Yeah, I can do that next turn as well, so let's just do that. And then we can run out Rutha again, and then I think I'm fine attacking with my 10/10s. Can even attack with Reckless Amplemancer, but that's a ton of mana, so let's just do this instead. Force him to awkward block positions, and we can still use Rutha to blow him out. So eventually he needs to deal with this. Just only blocks with 2/2s, fair enough. And Then could run out the Quadrix Apprentice, but I probably just want Rutha to do the bounce thing again. So we'll see go. He might have his own bearing books now, Ether Helix. Should be annoying. Alright. This is a weird match. My 10-10. And he gets to make more 1-1s here, so the card I was just talking about, which isn't great, is actually pretty decent. And then, do I bounce this? I mean, it's getting dangerously annoying. Although I could Arcane Subtraction as well and learn twice. Maybe that's fine too. What would I learn? Maybe another Fractal? Yeah, I guess I could try that, I suppose. And then probably just use it again in case he tries to Magecraft. And then what we have here, we have Expand Anatomy and Fractal Summoning, so I guess there's also Introduction to Prophecy, so we definitely want to run a Fractal Summoning here. And then Expand Anatomy also isn't bad. But he can then tap down my creature, so maybe I should have done something else. We'll take Introduction then. We'll also bounce this, but we get to negate him for a single turn, so that's fine. Yeah, these Fractals are just gonna gum up the ground and the Spires are gonna get me, so I need to find an answer to this Kelpie Guide as well, so this is definitely not easy. Where's my Igneous Inspiration game? So I probably want to find Igneous and then try to maybe double spell to kill both of these. I could also sack this and draw a card, but I'll be down on mana, which could be important, so I think we just pass. No Igneous Inspiration, so do I do this first? And hope I dig into it, times 17 cards left. If I run out Rutha and do the introduction, then I won't have enough to Igneous Inspiration for 2, so I think we just run this out and hopefully grab it. There's our Igneous Inspiration, so I'll take both. And then, probably if I'm running out land, probably just run out Rutha here to set something up. And then, do I keep up a Bearing Books? I think I do, just to be safe. Could also just kill Kelpie Guy now, but I might want to get value by killing both. So I might spend the turn just bouncing Frost Trickster, and then we can say go here, so we'll just pass. Opponent's going to bounce my 9, tap down my 9/9. That's fine. Opponent starts attacking the 4/4s. I could just find taking 4, maybe double block here. So this is interesting. Alright. I guess we'll just double block here, and then I'm fine maybe using the Reckless Amphimancer. And then hopefully we can snipe both of these. Bouncing the Frost Trickster is kind of annoying too, but it might be a necessary evil. Or maybe I still should wait. Yeah, let's block like this and see what's up. And do I just bounce this to reset the counters and prevent some damage? I think I do. I don't like the fact that this still taps something, but it's still annoying regardless. I don't want this to keep growing, so that's fine. And then hopefully there's no tricks. Right, no tricks. So we get rid of some big heavy hitters, and then now we have a 9/9. We just need to take out the Kelpie Guy. We should be good, so first things first. I could also just run out Elemental Masterpiece to be safe first. Maybe that's more important than killing these two. Yeah, I think that's more important. And then we can still do the Rutha thing next turn, since we can just replay Rutha. Yeah, I think we do it then. And then we can still run out Quandrix. I guess we should run out Quandrix Apprentice first to thin our library a bit more. And then he's tapped on a 4/4. I still have some pretty good blockers, so. Next turn, we'll have access to Frost Trickster. We're still in a good spot, so Just need to kill these two, we should be fine. Could also argue killing the flyer. Alright, so he's attacking the 4-4. I think I just blocked it as much as I can. In case he has a pump trick. And it's still a 5-1. Alright, and then we can answer Kelpie Guy and hopefully take over the game. So, first things first, let's run out Rutha. Second thing, let's cast Igneous Inspiration. Doesn't matter which one I target first, not really. And hopefully doesn't have another instance, so we'll kill Kelpie Guy as well. So we could draw 2 lands here. He's gonna tap down my 9/9, that's fine. Alright, so no lands, but some powerful cards. And then probably take Expand Anatomy here. You could also get Inkling Summoning, interestingly enough. Yeah, I could just grab Inkling Summoning or more life gain, but Inkling Summoning is pretty interesting. Since we can cast it from this deck still. And then go attack with 4. I guess we can attack with 2 4/4s and still be okay, so we'll do this so we keep one blocker back. I guess he'll tap down the other 4/4, but I can still block the 3/4, which is fine. So regardless of whether or not we land quadrants at this, we didn't get any of them, so I'm hoping we don't hit a huge land pockets. So we can still block everything, taps down my 9/9, fair enough, but I can make a bunch of Inkling Summoning tokens as well. So we're still in a really good spot. Yeah, I guess I can do that, so I can also Expand Anatomy, that's also pretty decent. Alright, I guess I like that as well. Probably just put on my 2 4/4s. I'll also put 1 on the Quadrants Apprentice, but I do want my 4/4s to stick around still, so we'll just do this. And then I just want to see which copy is going to. This one's going to this one, so this one wants to go on this one. And they also have Vigilance, so that's key. Yeah, just do some things. Grab a tap lane, I guess. Attack for 6. 12, I mean. And then he might chump it, and then we can still Rutha, and I guess we can still Rutha and Inkling something as well, which is also just kind of silly. So yeah, this card can take over the game. And the opponent also has a solid Quandrix decks. The Biomathematicians, funny enough, were actually quite effective in this matchup, being able to chump block my large creatures. Now we can still Rutha, and then we can still Inkling Summoning. So that's kind of neat. Almost forgot that we can still cast double white spells. Next, lands. Put this first, obviously. And yeah. I put this first. Doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. I don't think I have any more lands in the deck left for field trip as well. And we can also just cast a giant fractal summoning token if we want to as well, so we should be able to again just take over this game. And I probably don't need this apprentice anymore, so I can swing, but that's just too much value. So yeah, Rutha is kind of like a must kill, and I actually like Rutha more than it is more in this type of deck than Prismari, funny enough. But yeah, card's pretty OP when it goes uncontested. Alright, we have all 3 colors, and we can even drop Pledge Mage on 3 to get going, so I'll try it. Can even play this on turn 4 at instant speed. we get a 4th land, of course. Test for talents. Alright, we'll see if we, I mean, he's playing white, so it's gonna be creature heavy, so I highly doubt we'll counter anything. And yeah, that's also one of the best things in the set. Professor of Apologies, no joke. Ooh, we can run out Rutha, although we won't be able to copy much except Snakeskin Veil, so I think we just run out the Fledge Mage first. And then if he enhances this next turn, we can use Inspiration, and I'm totally okay with that. We can even keep up our instances as well. So probably just take 2 if he doesn't do anything. Hopefully he doesn't kill Pledge Mage. I'll just take 2. And then see what he follows up with. Not much. Alright. Well, this is a tap land, so it's annoying, but we can still keep up Test of Talents plus Snakeskin Veil, so I guess I just play it. And then we just tap our red. And then maybe I'm fine still attacking here. Or maybe keeping this back in case so I can block. He's a more aggressive deck, so maybe I don't want to attack. And this might bait out the Expand Anatomy, which we can counter as well. Guess he could have another instance, so I'll just take 2 again. And then we'll see what he plays. Maybe he might play a creature here, might not. Might play a removal spell, might not. And I probably want to fire off Test of Talents first. Alright, that's better. Let's counter this. That's a pretty scary card to let resolve. Alright, so he has a removal spell. Ooh, Lorehold Command's pretty busted, although he doesn't have red mana to fix it. Some ways to pump his creatures, so yeah, that's kind of scary. Plus Alan's Shield Mage. So he might just fire off a Mage Hunter's Onslaught next turn. Looking at his library, it has some pretty good cards too, but he's Mardu. Some junky cards like Star Pupil, Stone Ricebeard, but he also has Elite Spellbinder, which is excellent, and some 5-drops. So yeah, we'll just resolve this and on our way hopefully. And then I guess we want to keep up Snakeskin Veil this turn. So I can maybe afford to run out Rutha, keep up Snakeskin Veil. Could also, I guess, keep up Eureka Moment and Snakeskin Veil. Maybe that's just better. We'll just say go. And see what's up. And I don't want to fire anything off beforehand, so we'll see. So he has Beaming Defiance and the Essence Infusion I need to kind of worry about. Lorehold Command is also quite busted, so that's a pretty scary card. So I'm fine blocking if he uses Beaming Defiance. I can grow this into a 5/5. If he uses Mage Hunter's Onslaught, I can protect it. So he's probably just going to fire off his spell. Bodruk is kind of annoying. Alright, that was a pretty good top deck from the opponent. Didn't expect that one. Alright. Unfortunately, yeah, that gets around removal. And then probably just take... I mean, that gets around Snakeskin Veil, but now we can just draw cards, and now we have Burying Books to set it back as well, so run out lands, run out Rutha, and then we can also bury in books and use Snakeskin Veil, so this is fine. So this might prompt him to use, pump up his 2/1. Could also block as well, and if he tries a Beaming Defiance, we can bounce this back. He does get to learn again, but that's fine. And he plays an Alan Shield Mage. I guess we might as well kill that with Ignis Inspiration and Professor's Apology. I'll have to pay 3 life, but that's fine. He's tapped out, and yeah, we can get some good value, so let's do this. And then, you know, copy the Ignis Inspiration as well. Take out the Professor's Apology. What do we want here? Could use some life gain. There's also a Fractal token we can make. There's also Inkling Summon, but we don't have double white yet, so probably don't mind just grabbing Environmental Sciences for some life gain maybe. Then I'll pay 3 life for this. And then we can get out a, I guess a Fractal Summoning, although we need more, I think we need a little bit more lands, to be honest. Yeah, it's not going to be that large, so I might just take this Introduction instead. Although it's also just kind of a clunky card. Expand Anatomy can also allow me to block, I guess, his creatures, or get them out of range. I don't really want to pump Rutha with it though, but I think I take Introduction. Now Drake can say go, and then we can still do Rutha things next turn, maybe Rutha into Introduction to Prophecy. But he's running a bunch of these non-creature spells, and if we can keep him off of creatures, we should be good. So the Stone Rise Spirit doesn't enhance it. Interesting. Right, so now what? I guess there's no really any point of him enhancing since my 1/1 Death Touch blocks it. So we're probably free to just run out Rutha. And then I guess I can run out Field Trip, and I don't care about really copying this, I suppose. Or we can just run out Introduction, but this is probably better to copy than Field Trip, so we'll run out of Field Trip here. And then, yeah, we can grab a Fractal Summoning now, or even Expanded, probably just grab Fractal. And then, yeah, we'll say go. Keep up 1 mana for Snakeskin Veil, just to protect it. And then we'll see if he fires off a Mage Hunter's Onslaught here, which we can use Snakeskin Veil on. So we'll see. Opponent needs to make a choice. It might just do nothing, because he might suspect a Snakeskin Veil. And if he just enhances his creatures, we should be good, so... And we should be able to take over late game, assuming we don't die to this Lore Hole commands, so we'll just say go. And then, yeah, we could just run out Fractal Summoning as a 5/5. Although it's much more important to just copy it. I guess if we copy it, then it should be okay. So we can make a 4/4, I guess, and copy it, which doesn't seem all that exciting. I don't mind maybe Environmental Sciences first, gain some life. And then we can still copy Introduction to Prophecy. So let's grab a blue mana since we're lacking out of blue land, and then Introduction, copy it. Keep up Snakeskin Veil, and I'm totally fine with that. So let's just do that. Get some more card advantage flowing. And then opponent is also missing his red mana. Elemental Masterpiece is a nice one. And then I might just opt in of turn 2. Like, copying off of Ruta, probably don't need to do it at this point since I'm already outvaluing the opponent by a lot. And then Expressive Iteration is also a good one too. Yeah, I'll take an Expressive Iteration. We just want to hold on to our instances here, so we don't accidentally forget that's in case he Mage Hunter's Onslaught or 1/1 Death Touch. So we'll say go. He's probably going to scry end of turn with the Silverquill Campus as well. At the start of format, I also thought this was one of the top commons. It's okay. I don't really think it's that amazing. It just requires too much mana to invest most of the time. Spiteful Squad, very interesting. We can still bounce that if he tries to enhance it. So we'll see if he tries to enhance it with a bunch of tokens. And then now he attacks the 1/1. I don't mind blocking and trading. I guess that could be okay. I guess he has a hexproof trick to protect his Spiteful Squad as well, so that could also be a bit of a problem. The 1/2 is annoying enough since it can exile and allow him to fly over. I think a trade is fine. And then I can still take some hits from this off the end of turn. Then Campus Guy could be pretty interesting too. It doesn't really block anything, so maybe I don't need it. I mean, he can block this, but it's not amazing. And then we can still run our Rutha, and if he gives us hexproof at instant speed, we can still... we can still fire off another Bearing Book, so I think I like this. And then I guess I can also just fire off a Zamone. I could also just take a hit from the 2/2, honestly, since he has all his hexproof stuff coming. Otherwise, I could double Bearing Books too, just to put it back. Maybe that's fine, since I'm setting up an Elemental Masterpiece. So, we'll say go. So we can try to bounce this, and if he hexproofs it, then we'll bounce it back again. Could also just bounce it back now. I could also just bait out the hexproof trick, to be honest, and just do it again, just to annoy him. But I guess I'll be out of Snakeskin Veil, so I think we just take it. And then we'll just copy some Elemental Masterpiece and say go. So, yeah, let's just do this then. And then we can still run out land and not discard, so we can do some silly things with this deck. Now, so I kind of have to be careful here. If he enhances this, I might enhance it twice now, and then keep up a Beaming Defiance. I can still double block and trade, even if he Beaming Defiances me. It's still fine. Yeah, if he attacks, okay, he's not attacking, so he's keeping his hexproof instant. So I can even do double Magma Opus to do some silly things here, so we'll just say go. We'll just do this. And then I guess I'm fine sending in 2 of these. And then if he tries to do any shenanigans, I can Bearing Books this. So let's see if he tries. Okay, so he's going to try the hexproof thing, and we can Bearing Books in response. Let's see how we can bury this in books, just to... And I don't think I'm copying a Rutha. Can even run out Zimone, but Rutha's just too powerful, so gotta protect her with Snakeskin. And we can even copy Magma Opus as well, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, we can do some silly things with Magma Opus and Rutha. But given enough time, again, the Temur and Quandrix decks will outvalue and defeat the other decks if they can't kill it fast enough, since there's just too much power at the top end. Plus there's just too much card advantage and value, so if you're facing against a very good Quandrix deck, you kind of just have to either outvalue them, hopefully, or kill them quickly enough. Because you're trying to win the late game with Quandrix and not the early game. So it's mostly just a control deck. So yeah, Rutha is pretty much the MVP of this deck, doing all the heavy lifting. So she's probably the true star of the deck, not Magma Opus. Alright, we have all 3 of our colors active, can opt early or Eureka Moments. I think this is a good keep, and then maybe we can ramp out Elemental Masterpiece, we'll see. Fine, probably opting end of turn, although this does trigger Magecraft for cheap. I still think we do this just to maybe dig into something good. I mean, I might not even need this since... I guess we can run Campus Gone turn 2. Yeah, we'll try this instead. I'm fine if we fetching a land unless we draw into a 4th land. Alright, we didn't get a 4th land, so I think it's fine putting a land on top. And then probably just fine getting another green source, since I already have red and blue, so that's fine. So it looks like a Witherbloom deck. Maybe we can snipe down something juicy. That's something juicy. Alright. Guess I'll just, I could just off main phase and maybe find a 2-drop. That could be fine since I already have Eureka Moments opt here. Probably don't need a mountain here, although it doesn't hurt with the ramp going on, since we're trying to ramp into elemental something, but I also might not need it, so we'll just bomb it. And Needlethorn Drake is okay. Alright, I'll just run out the Needlethorn Drake then. And then next turn we can maybe hopefully read the moments. I just gonna have to take a bit of damage from these pest tokens. The opponent also main deck pest summoning, so that's interesting. It implies he doesn't have a lot of ways to learn. A 3-mana make 2 1/1s isn't all that bad, honestly. But it's not incredible either. So, right, Blood Researchers is interesting, so now he can attack with the 1/1s. And I'm definitely not blocking. So the question is, do I just take out the Blood Researcher, or do I Eureka Moments? It's kind of scary, but maybe I can afford to get greedy, because if I do, then what can happen is I can also Inspiration, maybe Curate next turn, and even if something goes bad, I can still Bearing Books this if it gets out of range, so I think we're fine. Could have also attacked the Needlethorn Drake for 1, but I assume he's going to have a lot of life gain, so I don't think that matters much. We just need to outvalue them. And I'll probably just take 1 here. Could also bounce this, but that's a little bit too much of a stretch, since I should be able to make enough big blockers for these pest tokens. So I won't be surprised if the opponent's running a lot of removal in this deck too. He could also have his own Snakeskin Veil with Blood Researcher. There's Dina. He could also kill Dina. I guess since this can sacrifice his tokens to enhance Blood Researcher, so maybe killing this is better. Yeah, he's probably just going to do that. Right, so that's Blood Researcher, sir. So I could actually just kill Blood Researcher first. Although Dina's also annoying, but I think this card could also be kind of annoying too. Alright, so opponent's gonna drain me and also gain some life and enhance Blood Researcher. So surprising opponent didn't attack Blood Researcher. Now we can do this. And then yeah, I guess I can run out Letter and also Igneous Inspiration. Probably find inspirating the Blood Researcher or maybe using Bearing Books on it, which is also interesting. I guess I can still double block Researcher and be okay. I don't mind losing any of these creatures. Yeah, I think killing this is probably better than dealing this, because we can bounce it later, but then you can just recast it. So, I don't know, let's maybe just kill Blood Researcher just to be safe. And then, what can I grab here? Maybe Environmental Sciences to get more lands. Fractal Summoning's okay, it makes a 4/4, which is okay too, but not exciting. There's Expand at me, which can allow me to block, but it's also not amazing. Yeah, we'll just take Environmental Sciences just to be safe. Then probably still stay back, so I can maybe double block this with Dina if he decides to get aggressive. But now his game plan is to just drain me out, so okay, Demogod Hole Eater is kind of annoying. Luckily, I have some creatures I don't mind sacrificing. If he's attacking Dina, then I'm happy to block with the Needlethorn, although this can... I guess we can bounce this just to annoy him, which I also don't mind. Yeah, if he needs to sacrifice a creature, and then I think this is also just pretty annoying. So let this go, and then we can Field Trip and Bearing Books. Yeah, I guess we just run this out. Run out land, and then we can learn up a Fractal Summoning, maybe. There's also Introduction to Prophecy. Fractal Summoning doesn't hurt. We're kind of getting close where we can make a big creature, so I think I'll take a Fractal, and then we'll pass a turn. Opponent's force a sack, and then we can just bounce this back to annoy him. Can't really afford to take 7. So we'll just bounce this back. Hopefully no Snakeskin Veil. That sets him back by a lot. We can then run out the Elemental Masterpiece and take it from there as well. And I could even attack with the 2/1 just to get rid of pest tokens so the Demogod won't be able to do much. I think this card's okay. It's quite slow. I don't think it's a bomb rare, so what happens, you can exile the top card of your library if it's a land you put in your hand, otherwise you put a study counter, and then you can just make a bunch of fractal tokens, assuming this has a bunch of study counters, but then you need to exile a bunch of non-land cards, which can be kind of unappealing. So let's see here. If I environmental sciences play land, that's not enough for elemental, so I think we just go to combat. I'm fine trading off, because if he runs out the Demogoth, then he's forced to sack Keon, Deed of Substance, but he doesn't, so now we can run an Elemental Masterpiece. Start applying some pressure. We can even curate here at main phase. We can even run out the Fractal Summoning if we want to. Next turn as well, if we run out Fractal, we're going to have a 6/6. Spectre Fens, that's kind of annoying, but we can still attack with these 4/4s. Maybe force a chump block. Ooh, land isn't bad. Alright, let's move to combat and attack. And then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can make a 7/7, which I don't mind. Yeah, 7/7 is pretty large. Let's make one. And then we can even bounce the Demogoth just to annoy him. Then attack as well. This card is not that great since you're forced to stack on your upkeep. Also wait until he sacrifices as well, but I think I just like cramming in a bunch of damage. So I don't mind just burying this thing in books. We can start with, I guess, an Expressive Iteration. I guess we can even run out Environmental Sciences. How much mana do we have? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus 9. So we can do everything. So let's Environmental Sciences. Let's grab some red mana or some blue, doesn't matter. And then I could Expressive first, I guess, if we need to play out a land. I mean, I guess we're playing the Burying Books this, so we might as well not Expressive Iteration, just Fury instead, so this is fine. I could also hold on to this land in case he has a Mind Rot. And then we can attack with all. And force him into an awkward position where he needs to constantly block and then run out the Demogoth again, so. I'm fine running out of land here. Hope he doesn't have a Mind Rot. We'll say go, and then next turn we can Expressive and dig deeper. I guess you can just run out Demogoth. This has one counter to make one Fractal token. Now he's forced to stack on his upkeep. I guess he'll have to sack his own Demogoth to make me discard, so I'm hoping I can draw into maybe a land to discard, we'll see. Leyline Invocation isn't bad. So I want to put this in my graveyard, put this in my hand, right? That makes sense. Yep. Otherwise, if I click on this, it ends up in the graveyard, and that's not a good sign. That's right, first things first, it's Expressive. And, yeah, I like all these cards. So I probably want to put this in my hand. And then what can happen is I can now attack with the... I can put this in the library, and then I can exile this. So what I can do is I can attack with a 7/7, and if he tries to block with a 7/7, then I can Arcane Subtraction. So he's kind of in a bad spot regardless. And I can then discard the land to Demogoth if he decides to sacrifice it the next following turn. I might still play this anyways, just to get a learn off. Oh, he's gonna chump block now. That's fine. Alright, chump blocks. So, I guess I'm just fine running this out for a bit of value. Since it's gonna go away end of turn. And then we can grab an Introduction to Prophecy. I can cast Introduction or just cast Leyline Invocation. I guess I'll cast a Leyline Invocation. And then... Right, and then he's gonna sacrifice Keon or sacrifice Demogoth, and I should be able to discard my land if he sacks this. So I'll discard the land on me, not sacrifice. But he's facing down a whole army of large Fractal tokens. And Phil has to tap to make a bunch of 1/1s, so yeah, there's no way he's winning this. And then I just need 2 more victories to get to 7. So we'll try this and see what's up. lost the game yet? I don't think so. So this can actually be an easy 7-0, we'll see. Opening hand, well, we have our fixing. I guess we still need like a blue or green mana to cast Rutha. I guess we can cast Rutha on 3. I guess we can cast everything, this seems good, we'll keep. Probably fine running out Control on 3 as opposed to Rutha. Pledge Mage, I could also just kill this, honestly. It's kind of annoying. I guess I can kill it next turn and then keep up Test for Talents as well. So maybe ramping is fine. And then we'll take a bit of a beating from this. And then what do I want to grab here? We don't need Environmental Sciences since we have a bunch of lands. Expand Anatomy could be okay. There's a lot of things we could grab here. I guess I'll just grab Fractal just to be safe. And then we'll say go. We can attack into a first striker, so we'll take a bit of a beating. Run out Inspiration next turn. Or we can even run out Rutha and keep up Test for Talents and then set like double an Inspiration as well. Alright, we'll run out Inspiration on the 2-2, that's fine. And then we'll probably just take 3 then. And I probably just want Test for Talents up for the Elemental Summoning. So I think I'm fine running out Rutha. And then yeah, we'll I mean, I could also Inspiration for 1, but then being able to learn twice is really powerful. So I'm actually just gonna run this out. Of course, and say go. And then I can also block this as well, but then he gets to Magecraft. So I'm probably supposed to wait. I'm fine if he main phases this, but then I can counter it. So I'm probably not blocking this. Because even if I counter it, he can Magecraft and kill this. So I'll take 2 and then counter the Sciences. If not, I guess this can't be countered. Yeah, I guess this can't be countered, right? Let me see, He the Bait can't be countered, right? So we'll let this resolve first. Yeah, it can't be countered, so Test for Talents can't do anything against it, so I guess we'll have to let that resolve. And then maybe get to Magma Opus range. So let's... I guess we'll Inspiration first, in case he has something. Then Environmental Sciences isn't bad too. I probably still want to keep up Test for Talents. Could also just take an Introduction to Prophecy. I'll get an Environmental Sciences here, I think. And then we'll probably just want to run an untapped land and then say go. In case he runs this out, I want to just counter it. Or an Elementalist. Okay, that's annoying too, so if I want to play around my counter spells, say go. Can bury this in books if you want to. So probably fine just running Environmental to get a land for next turn. Run out land, run out the Archway Commons, or I guess we can play an untapped land. I guess we can get up to 8 mana with the Magma. Like this gets to draw cards, but I should still be okay. Yeah, let's just get the tap land going. Then probably take a hit from this while I get to draw some cards, and then I can like kill this next turn and keep up the counter spell for Elemental Summoning, so that's fine. Just land, so that's fine. Take 3. Might even main phase Magma in case he has a counter spell of his own. So we'll see what he does here. There's a summoning, so now we can counter it. And then there's no way he main phases it. Alright, Hoffrey's kind of scary. Probably just want to kill that. I guess I can't kill it with Magma Opus. You can divide by 0 and that doesn't deal with any of my tokens. Serpentine Curve I can deal with Burying Books. So he's running this Jeskai sort of control deck in a sense. His deck is alright. It's not all that incredible. Yeah, let's just do this. And also exile spell, so do I main phase this? I guess I do because he can divide by 0 and counter it. So let's just do this first. Kill this. And then tap 2 lands. And then yeah, let's just kill this now before it becomes a problem. And then Hoffrey, but maybe we can find a solution to it. It's kind of annoying. This card's scary. Can come back as well. Alright, I guess we can leave with a Pondrix Apprentice. Run out lands. I guess run out a Leyline Invocation, end of turn opt, or we can opt first. I guess we can opt first as well. Alright. We'll just concedes. So sure. When you haven't drafted a set in so long and you revisit it and you kind of remember everything about it, you can just run away with 7-0 sometimes. But yeah, we'll see what the final boss is, and hopefully this draft can get me out of Dumpster Mythic. And then probably just do one more draft for Strixhaven and then maybe call it. I can also, again, maybe do a new Capenna draft if the games are quick enough, which usually are in New Capenna. In this set, if you play Silverquill, it can be really quick as well. But if you're playing a deck like this, it can take maybe up to more than an hour to finish it. So I love this whole fantasy talking about the world in town. It would be awesome if it's maybe in the metaverse or something. It's kind of like World of Warcraft, but it sounds a little bit more interesting when it's more immersive. Right, our final boss is a bronze opponent, so we'll see. It could be a mythic opponent in disguise. Alright, we have all three of our colors, so we haven't had any issues with mana in this draft as well, so yeah. Magma Opus, so we can maybe close our last game out with a bang. And then, do I want to field trip or leather? They're both close. Letter's better if I have 1-drops. I can also run out Needlethorn Drake next turn if I run out Letter of Acceptance. So maybe we're fine just casting field trip here. I guess I could have done both. Doesn't really matter. And then, do I need more lands? Lands get me closer to Magma Opus. So maybe Environmental Sciences is okay, just to ensure we can get to 8. And then I'm fine attacking for 2, since it's likely has a spell to advance that Quandrix Pledge Mage, so next turn we can run out Letter, and then run out Needlethorn Drake, and take it from there. If he enhances this by a lot, I might want to bounce this next turn. Okay, so the opponent seems to have seems to know how to draft, since these are all both really good cards. So I could free roll this 2/2, since I mean, if he blocks, it is a bit of a tempo loss. So I find playing out Letter, running out Needlethorn Drake, and then in turn we can also opt. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lands. So we just need 2 more lands to run out a Magma Opus. And we should be okay. We might have an answer to this Needlethorn Drake, which can be kind of annoying. He could have an Arcane Subtraction if he's attacking like this. I could also just block this, to be honest. Since I still have Burying Books, I think I will. See if that's an Arcane Subtraction, doesn't. It's a fine exchange. Even though he could play maybe a Fractal Summoning token, that can be kind of annoying. So hopefully no 6/6 Leyline Invocation. Otherwise I might probably need to bury it main phase to play around and counterspell. Symmetrist is powerful. His own Needlethorn Drake, so I'm hoping I can deal with both of these and hope this doesn't grow out of range, so we'll run an opt here. And then do I need to land? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Land isn't the worst. Yeah, I'll take a land. And then we can do environmental sciences next turn. And then, yeah, we'll just do this. Get another red source just in case. Run out a red source, and then do I run out Simone or do I keep up Barry? Could keep up burying books. I mean, I guess that can be okay. Maybe bounce his Master Symmetrist and take it from there. Since I'm planning to use Magma Opus anyways, I don't think I care about getting out Simone. Because I'm not going to be activating her next turn anyways, so we'll see go. This could also disincentivize an attack from the Symmetrist, because I can then build my 2-2. If he attacks freely, I might just pump this though. I'm hoping he doesn't have like an arcane subtraction, but we didn't see it when he used the Needlethorn Drake, so that's also interesting to note. Galazeth is pretty good. Alright, I might want to kill this instead, but killing Pledge Mage and Needlethorn Drake is pretty appealing as well. I could also just bounce this 4-4. Alright, it's a Mage Duel, so I guess I can bounce the Galazeth in response to keep my 2-2 around. Then we can take out both of these. I'll take a bit of a beating here, and then I can take out Drake and Quandrix Pledge Mage. And then I can do it on his upkeep as well, just in case he draws into a counter spell. So let's play out land and then stop on his upkeep. And I think I'm fine attacking since I'm not playing the block. And then, yeah, on his upkeep, we can cast Magma Opus, kill these two, and then tap like this, and then hopefully this isn't wrong. Yeah, this seems about right. Play our Mythic. I might see an instant concession here, we'll see. Now I still need to build a flyer, which is a bit of a problem. Opponent top decks a Quandrix Cultivator. Ooh, he shuffled his Galazeth back. Not sure that was the correct thing. Right, so at least I don't have to deal with that. And then I can still Expressive Iteration here. And grab an Elemental Masterpiece. Although I could just play it out this turn. It would be the same thing, I guess. So, yeah, let's put this in our hand. Exile the land. Yeah, put this back in our library, or maybe the other one. Doesn't matter. Exile this, and out, and then I guess we'll Masterpiece here and swing for 4. Also attack with a 2-2, but again, if he blocks, it's a pretty huge tempo loss. So yeah, opponent's not in a good spot. We even have Snakeskin Veil, so we basically have everything. So I could just draw a letter, honestly, at this point. Out to lands, and then I could just attack a ball, and then even if he blocks Reckless Amplemancer, I can pump it into a 4-4. So it's probably just game over. And then we can keep up our instances still. Haven't sacked my letter yet. So Rutha stole the early games, and stole the early games, and I will keep up Test for Talents in case he has a sweeper. And then Magma Opus stole the last 2 games. Another Symmetrist, that's fine. And then, yeah, there's no reason for the opponent to stick around here because it's game over. But yeah, opponents had a pretty solid Quandrix deck too. Luckily he didn't have a lot of instances to enhance the Quandrix Pledge Mage, otherwise it would have gotten out of hand. But it's a pretty solid deck. And yeah, 7 wins is good, so this will be our nice thumbnail for the video. And yeah, just a quick overview of the draft. Just a controlled blue-green control deck, not a whole ton of creatures. As you can see, there's only 8, but again, the Magma Opus and Elemental Masterpiece, plus the Leyline Invocations count as creatures. Plus, the way we make a bunch of creatures too in the late game is to use the Rutha to copy some of our busted top-end cards. And then a couple of games we used Rutha to copy Elemental Masterpiece, which was powerful. Didn't get the dream of copying Magma Opus with Rutha, but on its own, Magma Opus was still pretty insane. and Rutha still did a lot of heavy lifting in the early games, just being able to copy some of our instances, like Ignis Inspiration was huge. Being able to learn twice means that we were able to grab the majority of our lessons, even if we're only running 3 learned spells and 4 lessons, so it was still pretty consistent. And did we not see any cards? I think we saw every card I think we played every card. We played Opt. Didn't play Snakeskin Veil though. We kept it up in a couple. I guess we used it on one match where they had a Frost Trickster and we used it, but then overall we just kept it up in a number of other multiple games, and we never fired it off. Still a very nice, like, 1 mana, like, efficient spell. There's one game against a Silverquill deck. I think we saw the entire hand. It was just a bunch of pump spells, enhancement spells, and 1 Mage Hunter's Onslaught, and the opponent top deck an Edict effect to get our creature out of the way, just so he could play around Snakeskin Veil, which is really interesting. We did cast Arcane, Curate. Yeah, I think we cast every spell in this deck. So, yeah, really well. Didn't see Professor as much, though. But we still cast everything, and yeah, Opus is busted and Ruth is busted, so yeah, pretty awesome Temur 7-0 draft. So definitely gonna save this and then claim our prize. And then yeah, let's just do another Strixhaven draft, why not? So let's go. Maybe this time we draft Silverquill. So pack 1, pick 1. The rare unfortunately is not very good. Selfless Glyphweaver is okay. Usually the Deadly Vanity path of this is not all that amazing, since you're going to be pretty low to the ground and aggressive, and getting 8 to 8 mana is a lot. Plus, if you're going to be playing a ton of creatures, you don't want to wipe the board. However, the rare portion is decent. Just being able to exile this at instant speed to play around removal is nice. And then even if they... So the thing is, if they target one of their important creatures, you can just exile your Selfless Glyphweaver to give your creatures indestructible. And if they target a Selfless Glyphweaver, then you can exile it, and then all your other creatures can become good blockers for the turn and also gain indestructible to dodge removal. So it's a fine rare. I don't think it's nearly that great. It's definitely worse than Killian, Rutha, and Inkling Summoning for sure, which are the 3 best cards in this pack. But yeah, Killian and Rutha are definitely a step above Inkling Summoning, and both of these are quite busted. So, given that we drafted Temur the last time, I think we'll just try the Silverquill route and take Killian. And if this was pack 1, pick 1, I would still, and I had, I wasn't really, and I didn't draft, I would still take, I guess I'll still take Killian, because Silverquill I think is better than Quandrix in overall. It's not because, you know, Temur doesn't, or Quandrix doesn't take over the late game, because it's definitely a lot more powerful than every deck in the format in the late game. But if you're able to curve out aggressively with some insane starts, then Silverquill can just snatch games, and that's what it does. So I think we take Killian over Rutha, which would be my second pick. And then if these two were in the pack, I think I'd take Inkling Summoning over Selfless Glyphweaver, honestly. I don't think it's that impressive. And then to a lesser extent, some other good commons here: Pledge Mage, Scourge Colony, Serpentine Curve, even Eager First Year is a nice 2-drop. So Strixhaven's a pretty deep set, but it's also kind of confined because you're kind of forced into these 2 colleges. Not because, you know, the colors are bad by any means, except red, but they just synergize better. So let's just take Killian. Although, I mean, this is more like a Quandrix card. I'm sorry, Prismari's not very good. Let's just take Killian. Right, Vanishing Verse could be okay, although it's probably just worse than Closing Statements. There's also an Environmental Sciences in this pack, which is the best common. And then Rise of Exodus is also close to Environmental, but I would still take Environmental first. Given that we take Killian, I think we just take Closing Statements. Vanishing Verse is also quite efficient. It's a 2-mana exile spell that targets. That's also quite good, but it's also quite restrictive because you can't use this to take out Fractal tokens, since Fractal tokens are multicolored, and most of the time you want to destroy something large in a set, since they can be quite problematic. And I think Closing Statement is definitely better than Rise of Exodus. And I think this is also one of the best uncommons. And this is not too different from Vanishing Verse, to be honest. You can still cast this for 3 mana on your end step as opposed to maybe 2. But I guess it can be kind of clunky on the opponent's turn, but it's still quite good. And I think it's just better than Vanishing Verse, since a 1-1 counter on your creature could matter. Yeah, typically speaking, I would price pack one, pick one environmental sciences, maybe over closing statement. Although they're both pretty close, and I think this uncommon's great. But yeah, given that we took Killian, I think I don't want to miss closing statement. And I just want to draft Silverquill this time, so it's a good closing statement here. Right, I do like Silverquill Apprentice. I also like Guiding Voice. I think these two are definitely better than the Lesson here, which is okay. They still get a resource out of this effect, but it's still fine. If it's going late, you'll take up this Lesson, but it's not like necessary, honestly. Leech Fanatic's also a good 2-drop since you can gain life by attacking on 2. But it's really between these two. I think we take Silverquill Apprentice here. I think it's just another rock solid 2-drop. Sure, it's not like Quandrix Apprentice where every single time you Magecraft you draw a land, but it's still quite good. There's a decent amount of flyers in Silverquill, and just being able to give them the +1 and +0 is quite nice, and this is kind of annoying since they have to deal with it eventually. Guiding Voice would be my second pick here. I think this is an efficient way to learn, but I still think Silverquill Apprentice could be more important, so I'll take a Silverquill Apprentice. Alright, there's a Rise of Exodus, which is great, pick 4, so yeah, Silverquill is flowing. Shock is also quite good, but I'm not going to splash it. Fractal Summoning also decent. There's also Decisive Denial, but Rise of Exodus is great, allows us to learn. The exiling instant or sorcery portion of it isn't that relevant, honestly. It's relevant, I guess, slightly against, like, decks start playing Serpentine Curve, but it's not by much since you only exile 1 spell, and there's not really too many ways to recur spells in the sets. There's a couple of them, but not a ton. So this pack is very interesting. Float Drop Rescuer is okay. I haven't found this card to be all that impressive. 5-mana 2/2 flyer is a little bit understated, and I'd rather just have the 5-mana 3/3 flyer. That being said, you can still get our 2 drops, so you could argue taking this. Overall, the best card is like Overgrown Arch, but I think that's a little bit too late. Show of Confidence could be an interesting card, I guess. This is a card you want to play with multiple like 1-mana instances that are very cheap, and then being able to just multiply and put a bunch of 1/1 counters on your creatures can be quite powerful. So, I mean, yeah, so this is going to be at its best in decks playing multiple Guiding Voices, and we can still end up in that type of deck. Either way, I think this is the best card for what we're trying to do here. So, take a Show of Confidence. Alright, nothing else here. Best card is like Serpentine Curve. I think Detention Vortex is pretty bad. Yeah, you use this, you give them a bit of a tempo loss, since they had to pay 3 mana to activate it, but it's still like pretty cheap to destroy the Detention Vortex, to be honest. And unless you're like incredibly hyper aggressive, then I guess it could be playable. But it's definitely not like Hold for Ransom and Yucapena where it takes 7 mana to destroy it and then you still draw a card. I think I'll just take Introduction to Annihilation. It can actually be okay if you're kind of aggressive, because even if they draw the card, you still get a blocker out of the way in the late game, and they might be too low on life to even for the card advantage to even matter. So an Introduction to Annihilation as an okay lesson. And then yeah, I also like Eager First Year. Hate passing up Burying Books. I think this is the best card in the pack, but again, we're going Silverquill, and Eager First Year is a really solid 2-drop. So yeah, I'll take this over like, I don't know, this is kind of like one of those weird build around cards in Lorehold, but a lot of the Lorehold commons just suck. And then yeah, the problem with the Lorehold cards is like some of them are they have this mid-range version of the Lorehold decks where we're trying to grind, but it just can't outvalue any of the Quandrix cards because it's better to just draw cards instead of just exiling and making a bunch of 3/2s. And then there's just the aggressive version, which isn't really that much of a support theme in the set. It's essentially just playing the good white creatures, and then, you know, instead of playing the powerful black spells in Silverquill, you just end up playing a bunch of junky red commons, and hope you pick up enough like heated debates in red. So I'll take an Eager First Year. And then yeah, this pack just sucks. I guess I just take a random Cogwork Archivist. This is more of a sideboard card. If I had a red-white Enthusiastic Strike, could be fine, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, I don't think any of this matters. I just need a Cogwork Archivist. Right, we could take another Eager First Year. There's also Leech Fanatic and gain us some life, but I think Eager First Year is just better since it hits pretty hard if you can enhance it or Magecraft, and I think that matters. I think the damage matters more than the lifelink. It's both close, but yeah, I'll take Eager First Year. The extra damage could matter more. There's also Quandrix Pledge Mage late, so Quandrix is also kind of open. So is Silverquill, and if we somehow end up splashing red, I'll take a Lorehold Campus. And then wow, even a late reduced to memory, sure. I mean, again, not the most exciting lesson, but it's still fine. You'll still take this as a lesson if it's going late over a random professor's warning, which is fine too. Could play a copy, but it's not a priority. Reduced to memory. And then who knows if I somehow strangely end up in Mardu, I guess Relic Sloth. But even then, I don't want to splash it. It seems pretty bad. I'll take the campus. Now I'll take a Relic Sloth. And then Throw could actually just be better than Pillar Drop Warden, honestly. And then, yeah, Lore Hole looks open, but so does the white, so does Silverquill, so we'll see. Right, Inkling Summoning is great. There's also Alan Shield Mage, which I can hope to wheel. Yeah, this rare is not very good. And even if you play it as just a 2-drop, it's also just not very good. I guess the best card in this pack is between like Divide by Zero, Inkling Summon, and Heated Debate. So it's really between these 3 cards, I think. I actually think Divide by Zero is just better than Inkling Summoning pack when pick one. The Learn is really relevant with this. The problem with this card, however, is that it doesn't deal with fractal tokens since their mana value is 0. But it's just very, very flexible. Just being able to like pseudo counter the opponent's spell on the stack, or since it targets spells as well, and then being able to bounce a permanent end of turn and Learn is really nice. But yeah, we're just gonna take Inkling Summoning. Hopefully pick up some Learn cards like Guiding Voice. There's another Rise, but it's just worse than Closing Statement. So, and there's also Guiding Voice. Man, I like all 3 of these cards, but gotta take Closing Statement. 100% better than Rise. And yeah, the fact that you can cast it cheaper is definitely a huge deal. I don't think the rare is very good. Like 4 mana 3/3 to just tap this creature doesn't seem like what you want to do. And so you put in the graveyard, yeah, that sucks. I mean, you have easy ways to enhance with Guiding Voice, so there's no reason to just tap and put a bunch of your powerful spells in the graveyard. So I'm just going to take a Closing Statement and move on. And there's a Combat Professor as a really excellent common. There's also Doomblade as well. Doomblade is also really powerful. It does have a bit of restriction, but it's also excellent. And then there's Lash of Malice. Given that we're more of a creature deck, I think we just want to get a lot of efficient creatures, and Combat Professor is excellent. It's kind of like a mini Sarah's Angel. Sarah's Angel is a 5 mana 4/4 Vigilance Flyer, but this is kind of like a 4 mana 3/3 Vigilance Flyer. And being able to pump your creature the turn it comes down and give it Vigilance is also quite good. And yeah, we could use some Evasion to close out the game. Otherwise, we're just picking a bunch of removal spells. Not saying this, I won't play this. This card's definitely excellent, but it is a little bit restrictive, only being able to target non-black. Still an excellent card, but I still think we take Combat Professor just to get those excellent evasive threats. And yeah, this is probably the best white common in the set. I think the second is like between Guiding Voice and Study Break, which we also see in this pack, but I think we still take Flunk over it. It's just better to kill things than tap them down for a turn. The Learn is pretty efficient, but Flunk is just too efficient as well. I mean, yeah, we could use more Learn, but this is just, again, too efficient. So you do need to keep in mind if the opponent's 7 minus the number of cards. So if the opponent, so this is better if your opponent has less cards in hand. If your opponent has too many cards in hand, it's not great. 7 minus the number of cards in their hand. Okay, so 7. Yeah. You want them to have less cards, because if they have less cards, you can, for example, they have 1 card, you can, it's 7, it's X is 7 minus the number of cards, so 7 minus 1 would be 6, so you can give -6/-6, but if they have a lot of cards, it's not that effective. Still, most of the time, you're going to snatch something good for 2 mana, so I'll take a Flunk here. Seems like a good removal spell. And then there's this pack, which is interesting. Could take a second Eager First Year. I don't think Expel is that good in an aggressive deck. There's also like a random Hunt Maker Mark, which also could be reasonable too. Being able to use this as a trick to enhance a creature, and then if it dies, you make a 3/2 could be quite relevant. I'd also like Essence Infusion, but I like it when you have more 1-drops, to be honest, and we have a bunch of 2s. There's also just another random Eager First Year. I could just take it over Maker Mark. I don't know. Just take a random 2/2. And then I guess I love Expand Anatomy. I also don't mind an Unwilling Ingredient, but I think we get our first Expand Anatomy. Although not a lot of Learn going on, so Learn is going to be a priority in the next pack. I still think this is better than Unwilling. Hopefully we will get an Unwilling ingredient later. And then this is also another fine lesson, but it's okay. It's not like incredible. Could play Agonizing Remorse, but then it's another 2-drop. So this is just another weird pack. This is not as good as Humiliate, since Humiliate gives you a counter. I'm just going to take the Academic Probation. We really need some Learn. And then probably just take a Dual Land now over Arrogant Poem, which I think is also solid 2-drop. Over Auxiliary Elocution, which I think is also solid on 4. Just going to take a Campus here. And then, Alan Shield Mage, pick 5, that's nice. Gives me some evasion. Alright, I'll take this even wheeled. And then Guiding Voice is excellent on turn 10. I actually wouldn't mind even playing a Cram Session in this type of deck just to be able to learn. I think this card's quite solid, but it's better in just a more controlling deck like Quandrix or like Witterbloom. Mage Hunter's Onslaught is also okay, but it's just okay. I think we run Guiding Voice more. Quality's Eager First Years and Lessons, and then we'll take an Unwilling Ingredient just to have a 1-drop. And Study Break, wow, pick 12, that's a gift too. Also one of the top white commons, like Guiding Voice. So yeah, we're getting there. And we have a lot of lessons to look up. And then not much else here. And ooh, even a late Reduced to Memory. Don't need 2 copies, but whatever. I'll still take it. Alright, and even Beaming Defiance, funny enough, could actually be main deckable. So how many cards do we need left? So we have 6, 7, 8, so we're at 15 cards, so we should be able to get there. Let's take the Beaming Defiance and move on. And what do we have here? Could take a Spectre Fence, which I think is actually a really solid 4-drop. Just being able to drain in the late game can be quite relevant. There's also another Campus for a bit more fixing. Primal Command's also a good card. I don't think it's busted by any means, but it's still good, you know. I don't think we're going to first pick it, obviously, but yeah, so what you can do with this, you're most likely interested in just using this to like bounce an opponent's non-creature permanents, and then just search your library for a creature card. So it's pretty powerful. Could be a fun card to first pick, but it's worse than, I think it could just be worse than like Professor Zoomancy. Not joking. Alright, I'll take Spectre Fence. Could use a nice 4-drop invasive creature. Then that can also drain in the late game over the Dual Land and over Defend the Campus, which also is fine. We could use some 3s though in this deck. So there's Pilgrim of the Ages, which can fill a role at 3. There's also Ignis Inspiration. I guess we have, I guess we don't have that much fixing besides 1 Lorehold Campus. But it's definitely the most powerful card in this pack. If I have Environmental Sciences, I might actually take this, but we don't. So we're looking at Mage Hunter's Onslaught and Pilgrim of the Ages. Pilgrim of the Ages gives me a 3-drop that can help me bridge the gap between 4 and 5. In terms of removal, I do have some good removal already with Double Closing Statement and Rise of Exes plus Flunk. So I could argue not taking the Mage Hunter's Onslaught here. And we really need something on turn 3. There's an argument that we can always like learn, get an Inkling Summoning, and cast it on turn 3. But we need more than just 1 3-drop on turn 3. So I'm actually just going to take Pilgrim of the Ages here. It's definitely a step below Ignis Inspiration, but with 1 Lorehold Campus, I don't think that can reliably help us fix. If we get like Environmental Sciences, I might regret it. But I'm still going to take this. Fumes is better if you have more things to stack. This is also a fine lesson to grab. So I'll take a Pilgrim of the Ages. Fine grindy card, even in an aggressive deck is good. Right, I do like Lash, but I'm going to have to take a second Guiding Voice here just to, again, enable my lessons, which I have a ton of. We have 1, 2, and 3 ways to learn, and now we have 4 ways to learn. And yeah, I think we definitely need some consistency in learning this deck over a Lash, which I also like, but Guiding Voice going to take it here. And then there's a Rescuer, can get some 2-drops back. I guess there's another Dual Land. Is there a chance Ignis Inspiration wheels? Highly doubt it. Yeah, and I don't think we need to splash Inspiration. It's good, but I'm just gonna take Pillar Drop. Can be fine. These are more like 3-drops anyways, since they can cost 3 generic less. But it's not guaranteed that we cast it on curve all the time, so I think the Pilgrim is still important. And I don't think I want any Archway commons in a mostly heavy aggressive 2-color deck, so I'll take a Pillar Drop Rescuer. Wow, another Guiding Voice is a gift, also in my Spiteful squad, but it's just not that impressive as a 4-drop. It doesn't have much evasion, so Guiding Voice is a gift this late. then, yeah, nothing much else here. Rip Apart's like the best card. Probably just take an Essence Infusion. Plays better when you have more 1-drops, to be honest. Maybe I just take a random Star Pupil. It's kind of medium. But if you can put like Guiding Voice counters on, it's okay. Overall, this pack is very unexciting. I'll just take the Star Pupil. Not sure if I'll play it though. And then I don't mind a second Spectre Fence on 4. Strict Proctor is kind of whatever. It's kind of an anti... It can be kind of bad if you have some ETB abilities, which I don't think I have any. I guess Pilgrim of the Ages is kind of a nombo with this, so it's not that great. Just gonna take a random Spectre Fence. Promising Dust Mage can be kind of cute with the counters as well, but I think Spectre is just a better card. Ooh, Humiliate pretty late. There's also another Dual Land, but I would have to take Dual Land over Humiliate if I had the Ignis Inspiration, so Humiliate's excellent. And then 1/1 counter does matter, so I can Humiliate. Great uncommon for Quandrix. For Silverquill. And we might even play Defend the Campus just as a pump spell or a way to destroy a creature. It's okay. And Accelerating Elocution could also be interesting too. Don't think we're going to Necrotic Fumes. Divine Gambit is interesting as well, but it's a bad card to cast in the early game. So I'll take an Accelerating Elocution. And then, we'll just probably put these lessons aside for now. And I guess we can even run 16 lands and do something like this. I'll take a Leech Fanatic. Don't care about Professor's Warning. And I guess we can ditch the Show of Confidence, even though I guess this is fine with Guiding Voice. I'll still take the 2-drop. Alright, so Silverquill was pretty decent. I mean, it was fairly open. Not as open, but it's fine. And this is a very solid deck. So what can we cut? Could cut the Exhilarating Elocution. I don't mind the Pillar Drop Rescuer just to have more evasion. Even though it's understated. Defend the Campus, if we have a lot of removal, that might not be necessary. I think I am fine with the 1-drop. The triple Guiding Voice is quite good. The Show of Confidence also is interesting. How many 2-drops? 1, 2, 3. How many creatures actually? 13 creatures. So we're actually kind of light on creatures. So I actually don't mind having a Leech Fanatic, so maybe just cut some non-creature spells instead. And I think I like these 3 non-creature spells. Let's take a look at our Learn and Lesson count. So how many Learn cards? A lot. I guess we have 5 Learn cards. And then how many Lessons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, I guess 6 with an extra reduce, so it seems about right. We can even discard lands, so we just need to cut 2 cards here. Show is good with the Guiding Voices, which I don't mind. It's also pretty cheap. Could just take a Defend the Campus. I like the fact that it's flexible. Sure, it doesn't put a bunch of 1/1 counters on my creatures, but that's what my Guiding Voices are for. But it's still like an instant speed kind of like removal spell that you can cast, and you can pump your team with it. So I actually don't mind Defend over Exhilarating. Exhilarating Elocution's fine, but it does a similar role as kind of our Guiding Voices already. And then we can maybe cut Show of Confidence maybe, or Defend. I think it's really between these two. And I think we need to play as many creatures as we can, of course. Could consider Star People, but it's only decent with more 1/1 counters. We have a couple, but it's just kind of whatever. Yeah, I could play it though. I mean, maybe not. These 2-drops are just so much better. Yeah, the extra 2/2 Evasive Threat is fine too. So it's really, I think, between these two. Can I go 16 lands? There's an argument for that, but having the extra land doesn't hurt with the Spectre Offense as a mana sink. Plus, we'll be learning the Guiding Voices, and then we'll have to follow up with another spell, so I guess 17 is fine. Plus the Campus. Maybe just Defend the Campus can go then. 1, 2, 3, 4. The extra removal could be important too. Show's pretty good, the Guiding Voices though. Being able to enhance a lot of our creatures. But it's kind of awkward when you don't have a Guiding Voice with this. So maybe we just cut Show, grab a Defend the Campus just in case. And then I guess this can justify running 17 lands more in case we flood. And then mana base slightly favoring white, but I think keeping even split is fine since we have a lot of white and black cards in the early game, so yeah, we could try this. Alright, let's do this. I mean, I could argue taking Show of Confidence actually... Yeah, Show of Confidence can be quite powerful, like, especially with flyers. And, it could be kind of awkward having to defend the canvas. So I think maybe we just cut defend. And yeah, just take Show of Confidence, it's pretty good. There's also an argument for having this as a hexproof, but I don't like 2-mana hexproof tricks, personally. So, let's just do this instead. So the weakness usually of this against the Silverquill decks is decks with a lot of life gained, and then like good expensive stuff in the late game. So against a really dedicated Winterbloom deck, the Silverquill decks can fall apart. I mean, Silverquill can also gain life with a couple of commons too, like the Silverquill Pledge Mage, which we didn't get. So that's a card that's also kind of annoying to face against. I would have actually loved a Lash and Mouse in this deck too, but I think we still had to take a Guiding Voice over it since we didn't get one. So had I known I wouldn't get a bunch of these Guiding Voices, I would love the Lash over it, but we're still in a pretty decent deck. Although this has a 1-drop and no white spells, it can be really awkward if we don't get our white mana since we're an aggressive deck, so I think we actually mulligan. Right, we have our mana, however, yeah, not a ton of early action, but I still don't want to go down to 5, so I'll keep, and then probably just bomb 1 Spectre Fence, since I might even cast this even if I don't have a creature to follow up. So this is fine. Leech Fanatic, alright, probably just run with this first, and then we can put a counter onto it and snatch a nice card from the main phase's Cram Session. Okay, I guess this is sorcery speed, so that's fine. Alright, let's run out Leech Fanatic. Get going next turn. Dust Mage, we can attack past it. Can I flunk it? No, I guess I can't since this is only X equals 2, so I just got Simulate here. And then what do we have in his hand? Demogoth Volt Eater is interesting, but he would need a 5th land to cast it. He doesn't have a lot of pest tokens. Inkling Summon is kind of annoying too, but we can deal with that. Tenured Incasters are interesting. Could just get rid of his Professor's Warning. The fact that he can put a counter onto this and I might need to destroy it later, and he draws a card can be annoying, so just get rid of his Professor's Warning. And probably see him follow up with a Inkling Summoning token. We can still attack, and then flunk if he decides to double block as well. And blow him out. Let's see if he runs land into a Demogoth Volt Eater, that could be interesting too. And let's see if he attacks, and he does, so he doesn't plan on blocking. So, let's just attack for 3. I don't know how he can outrace this. And then run out Spectre, so then he doesn't have any good attacks. He still save like Closing Statement for maybe the Demogoth, since it's kind of annoying even though it might have to sack itself. And then I can attack with both and then use Flunk at instant speed, so yeah, let's just move and attack and see if he does any double blocks. And yeah, doesn't do anything, right? Guess I'll just run out land, run out Eager First Year, and we can even kill something on the turn. Probably don't want a Closing Statement any of these creatures. You can always like flunk the Blood Researcher or one of these, we'll see. That's fine. I guess this blocks my 3/3 quite efficiently. I can also kill this too. I guess this blocks my 3/3 as well. Yeah, just kill it on the stack. Annoying since it keeps growing. then, don't necessarily want to trade my Leech Fanatic for the Mantle Servant, so I might just attack for 2 or just run this out instead. And I'll just attack for 2, stay back. If it runs out land, we can just kill this next turn. That's fine. Yeah, this card, I guess, is okay in Witherbloom, but I really don't even like this card even in Silverquill. It's just the stats are just so bad when it comes down. It has no evasion, and then yeah, you get 1 point of life, Link Swing, and you get an enhancement, but that's pretty much it. I think the 3-2 attacks I'm gonna block with the 2-2. Killian's interesting too. Alright, I guess we just attack for 5. Could be fine running out Killian just to get a discount here as well. Nope. And highly doubt there's any board wipes, although there's Crux of Fates. But I still think I run out Killian. Yeah, Crux of Fate would be pretty bad. It would be like double black, wipe the board. And then we can still cast this for 3 mana. Or I guess it's, yeah, still 3 mana with Killian, so we can still kill this end of turn and enhance our flyers and get going. Right, opponent's just missing land drops. I still probably don't want to kill this end of turn. I guess if I kill this end of turn, I can, if I get a land, I can drain him. So maybe I still kill the 2-1. Opponent even attacks with it, very interesting, so I guess I don't need to kill it. Although if I kill it, I get the extra counter. So maybe I just kill it. And then we'll attack, and if I get a land, I can drain him again. That's game over, so might as well try to go for lethal. And we got land, so that's game over. So we'll just give it good games. Alright, no creatures for the Guiding Voice, but this is actually a pretty decent hand. I'm hoping I draw into a 2-drop. I think I'll try it. Worst case is I don't. And I might need to fire off this closing statement just to deal with an annoying creature. But I don't think I can afford to mull on the play. If I didn't have both my colors, I might mull. This is fine. Alright, so it's probably just another Temur deck. Humiliates. Don't mind just casting this, honestly. Yeah, I will, just to get this down, and even though it might don't give a bit of value, it's fine. Alright, a lot of these cards are annoying. He doesn't have blue mana for Berry. There's Strixhaven Stadium. Whenever a creature deals combat damage, you remove a point counter. Whenever a creature deals combat damage, you put a counter in. I think this card's pretty bad. I'm just gonna get rid of this Heated Debates. It's pretty annoying, especially since it can shoot down my Spectre Fence. Hopefully I can get some creatures growing and then don't embarrass myself by losing to Strixhaven Stadium. He could have also made phase this with a counter, so I think he misplayed that. I can also Study Break here. I might just Study Break this next turn. It's not great, but I mean, I'm not doing anything else. I could also kill this, but since this can block, I probably don't need to worry too much. Just Study Break this and cycle. It's pretty bad when you don't have a creature with Study Break, since you want to be aggressive, but now I can at least run on Inkling Summoning on 3. You can also reduce this as well, but I'll just grab an Inkling. This also doesn't tap for mana, so it's a very interesting card. Finally get our land. Alright, I guess now we can run out Spectre as opposed to Inkling Summoning, and then we can still apply pressure and and reduce these counters. This needs 10 counters, so it's going to take a while to get there. So now what? I guess I can kill one of the 2/2s. If I enhance this, he can still block, so I think I'm just going to fire off a closing statement and hope this resolves. And that way I can start pressuring him. And hope this isn't bad. Hope he doesn't have a pump trick. And it's fine killing a Square Colony because he can just deal the Spectre Fence later. Alright, he has Burying Books, that's kind of annoying too. But we can at least attack, and then he's gonna bounce this, and then we can just run out the second one. Also flunk the 2/2 as well. I mean, I can flunk the 2/2. It's not the worst. So in response, I can flunk this because it's just going to grow larger later. So I just flunk this and then run out an Inkling Summoning. For mana efficiency, and then I can keep attacking to lower the counters on this. Hopefully nothing scary. I had to use 2 good removal spells on a 2/2/2, so it's not the best exchange. So Moan is kind of scary too, especially once he gets to 8 lands. So let's see, I don't mind actually Guiding Voice here to just get in the instant extra damage. And then do I Guiding Voice again? That's a question. Could reduce the memory on this thing if it gets out of hand, just in case. But that's going to take a while, so maybe I'm fine with Expanding Anatomy. And then do I do it again? I think I take the risk and do it again. Plus 4 damage is a lot. And then resolve the first time, so yeah, I could take a reduce the memory here just in case. And then we can attack for 4. Run out the Spectre Fence to start pressuring this guys as well, and then the Strixhaven Stadium is going to have trouble trying to get to 10. I think this is a pretty bad card too. We can eventually start draining. Miltorn Drake is kind of annoying. I guess I want to exile that with a reduce the memory, and I think it's fine. And then we can still expand an Anatomy and attack this turn, so we can still have a really solid blocker. So he's probably just going to draw a card here. He can still cast this at instant speed to make one of my creatures block, so it's fine. I think using Expand Anatomy on the 2/3 now. And then we can attack for 8, which is a lot. Make sure I don't click no attacks. I almost accidentally click it. Alright, I don't know. So he can use this to block. That's fine. I don't think there's any one blue trick that will do anything here. Oh, I guess he's just trying to learn as well. That's fine. Gets a giant fractal. But I should be able to outrace him, I think. Oh, I guess he can trade here. Alright. I guess he would have done this in the Spectre Fence regardless, so I think I'll be able to outrace him regardless, even if he runs out the fractal summoning, so I should be okay. And hope he doesn't play a fight spell along with it like Mage. That's kind of annoying. Ooh, that's annoying as well. I do draw a card. But that does slow me down, unfortunately. Alright, and we're not drawing any lands, so yeah, I think we need to start pressuring them if we can. So I do need to get some good spells here. I've been having to use all my removal on the I guess this needs exactly 10. Or 10 or more, I guess. Yeah, and it needs to deal combat damage as well. So I could just lose next turn because I'm not drawing into anything. And yeah, I'm just gonna probably lose. So you can make this into 8 and then next turn hit me. At least maybe I can keep this back as a blocker for Zimone. It's not great. I guess I can hit it and then goes to 6. I might as well. Yeah, I might as well, because otherwise I'm not winning this if I stay back all day and hope he doesn't get any counters. So we'll just do this, pass, and then we can drain end of turn. Draw a card. Draw 2 actually. I think we just flooded out pretty badly in this matchup. And maybe I just I wasn't really conservative with my removal spell, so it kind of cost me. But yeah, the Temur decks can just take over late game even with bad cards like Strixhaven Stadium. Let's see if he attacks with both, and he does, just to get the counters online. Sure. And he has a removal spell, right? I guess that's just game over. Let's see if that kills me. Well, that's about to kill me, so yeah, this card's powerful. You can even splash in Quandrix. There's a lot of mixing, and definitely a powerful mythic. So, alright, our first loss. Haven't lost a game in a while, but yeah, if we're drawing nothing but lands all day and opponents drawing cards, then we had like 0 2-drops to curve out with, then that's how you lose. I guess Humiliate was a 2-drop, but it wasn't like a creature that could apply pressure. And we even had to mull that game, so that's unfortunate. I think we ended up Temur in the last in this draft as well. I don't think our deck would have been nearly as good as the one previously. Just didn't see that many amazing Quandrix cards. Some good ones though, but there wasn't any bombs like Magma Opus running around. So yeah, the Scourge colonies were surprisingly just effective against our flying creatures. Alright, some 2-drops at the very least. I think I'm fine with this. And then both our colors plus a 2-mana removal spell. That could be still useful. That could be useful in the early game, so. Do I lead with Leech Fanatic or Eager first year? I think I'm fine with Eager since I have the Guiding Voice, and that can punch in for a lot of damage, so run this out first. And the question is, do I Eager first year next turn? It really depends. Runs a Biomathematician. It's kind of annoying. So maybe I set something up instead, since it's just going to block and trade. So we'll run an Eager first year. And Sigo, probably not going to use Guiding Voice. Accomplished Alchemist is kind of annoying. That can block pretty well, and I think I'm fine taking 2. So Flunk can do -3, -3. So I could just attack, and then if he tries to block, I use Flunk. I think I'm fine with that. I could also Guiding Voice to scare him as well. This makes it more likely that he blocks. So I think I will. It's going to be a little bit of an attack, but I still think it's worth it. And then, yeah, we can grab maybe an Inkling Summoning here. Or Expand Anatomy. I think since we have 2 learn cards, it should be fine. And then, yeah, I'll just Guiding Voice again. Need it for lots. And then, yeah, just time to grab Expand Anatomy. And then, yeah, we'll attack for 5. And if he double blocks, we can blow him out. If not, then we'll have to take 5. And then we can still run Leech Fanatic here. We can even enhance the Leech Fanatic now. Right, the Winter Bloom Pledge Mage is pretty annoying too. We can run out Allen Shield Mage, could also just expand Anatomy and attack, and then if he blocks, we can still flunk. That's -4, -4. Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. Just a lot of damage, and I'm trying to get rid of this Pledge Mage so I can, then I can prevent some life gain from happening. So I'm fine with this block, and he could double block here as well. Ooh, he's double blocking, sure. Ooh, everything, right? I guess that's interesting. So if I guess I don't mind flunking the Winterbloom Pledge Mage and then doing this. So let's just flunk like this. We can at least take this out here, and then we can also just take out the. So no life gain, and his 5/5 is gone, plus his 2/2, so that's good. We can run out the Allen Shield Mage, and if he wants to deal with that, then he'll have to take some damage. So opponent's playing these clunky 5s. Pilgrim the Ages is okay. We could set that up next turn, but we'll just run out the Allen and Lucigo. And if he wants to target us, then he loses 3 life, gains 2, alright. So his opponent's this Quandrix deck that's playing life gain synergies. Fair enough, and he can even use this to cheat out a spell if he wants to. Now, he's going to take 5. Because why not? And then... Alright, closing statement's pretty good too. Could kill the 3/2 maybe. Although I would need to tap out for the entire turn. I guess I can kill the 2/5 and go for it, but he also has mana open. So I might need to be careful, but it does seem pretty good here, actually. Maybe I kill his... I guess if I kill a Spring Mantle Servant, then it's still lethal. Instead of the 2/5 blocker, because this can trade. At least one of my eager first years can maybe stick around. There's also this Pledge Mage I can kill. I guess I can Pilgrim the Ages, get a land and a turn closing statements. I do lose out on a pretty good attack, but this is kind of annoying too. So this is interesting. Yeah, you know what? Let's closing statement this thing, and then I'm fine putting a counter on my Allen Shield Mage. And then he can only block one of them. Let's see what tricks he has here. He would need 5 mana to Burying Books, but if not, then he can do it with 3 if I attack. But that's fine. I think we just try to go for it before he gains a ton of life with this. We have a Mage Duel, but that's just a 1-for-1. Yeah, we'll see what he has. Maybe a Mage Duel. Quandrix Command, that part's really busted. 4/17 block, so I'm not going to attack with 4/4. Just wait for 4 in the air, and then hopefully it doesn't gain too much life. And then we can run out Pilgrim the Ages and Inkling Summoning as well next turn. Archmage Emeritus is not an instant. And I think I just take 9 here, and then I'm fine summoning back. So, fine running out Pilgrim, running out Inkling Summoning, and then, yeah. You just cheese them out, essentially. Alright, we'll keep this. If we top deck a Guiding Voice, I'd be pretty happy. So do I kill the Arrogant Poets? It's kind of annoying, honestly. Could also set up next turn, maybe run out Leech Fanatic and take it from there. Getting for 3 is pretty nice. I'll just run out the Leech Fanatic as they go. We'll be a little bit conservative for our hull. The Pledge Mage is probably more annoying. Okay, I guess we'll just run out Spectre Fence then. And then we get a black source, we can run out Allen Shield Mage or Flunk and then end of turn closing statements. Still Spirits. Creature in the yard to exile and get flying, and it's still 4 mana. So probably find swinging for 2. And then probably not going to block this because this implies he has instant or sorceries. Alright, land, but it's not double black, so I think we just attack with Spectre Fence, and if he has a trick, then I'll flunk. Nope. So just look for about more flyers. So there's no reason to cast any of these, honestly. Just try to fly over and even trade for this. I could kill the ground creatures and then attack on the ground, but then these two just trade anyway, so I might as well just try to win the game in the air. And we have some instances to blow him out if he tries to respond, so that's fine. And I'm fine just taking 2 from this as well. If he gives a lifelink though, it could be kind of scary with the Essence Infusion, then there's no reason to block this. So now I guess I can swing back. I guess I could swing back, but then he'll just trade. I could swing in with Leech Fanatic, I guess, just to gain the extra life. This is fine, then I can keep the Eager First Year back. And then if he has any tricks, again, we can flunk at instant speed or closing statement to blow him out. A trade here is fine too. Let's see what he has in mind. Alright, then we'll just hold on to our instances and say go. And end of turn, on this turn we might want to fire one of these off, we'll see. And then we're winning the race anyway, so worry about much. Could flunk this. Let's just say go. And then could rise with X's end of turn, but let's attack first. Could also just drain with the Spectre, honestly. Like the opponent's just gonna sit back and do absolutely nothing all day. We can just keep our instances available. Just drain them, so I think we'll just say go here. There's no reason to rise here with all this mana available. And we can just activate Spectre Fence. And yeah, we're just waiting to race anyways. Opponent, I guess, can give his creature flying at instant speed, but then we can blow him out next turn still. So let's see what he has here. We can still drain him end of turn. So yeah, he's probably going to use a Stonerise Spirit at instant speed if he's smart enough, but he doesn't. So we'll just take 2. And then we can just drain end of turn. No reason for us to do anything, honestly. And then I can also humiliate now, although I won't have access to my other spells, so maybe we're just fine attacking. He can make this flying. I guess if he makes it flying, then we might want to enhance the Shield Mage a bit. I guess we can blow him out with Flunk or closing statements. I think we just humiliate and see what's up. It's a little bit strange that he hasn't played anything yet. Maybe this is his turn to cast his instant now in response. No confidence, alright, so we have the tricks. Do we snatch up here? Nothing? Alright, so he just absolutely has nothing. So he has 4 power and 4 toughness, which is interesting. So I probably just want to put the counter onto the Spectre Fence. The reason being is that it can attack past the 2/3 now. Just do this, and then if I attack with both, I guess I'm fine. I guess he can still double block and kill this, so maybe just swing in with the 3/2 and then force the Arrogant Poe to trade. and next turn we can maybe take out the Laurel Pledge Mage, and then just explode in the air and win the game. So yeah, we'll just pass. And hope he doesn't top deck and annoying, so. Ground section, that's actually pretty annoying. Okay, so he does get to survive a little bit longer. Gets introduction to Annihilation. I still draw a card, so it's fine. And then, yeah, I'll probably just take 4. Can run out Killian and maybe deal with one of these next turn as well. So no reason to block. I guess we can run out Rise of Exodus for cheap, which is awesome, so we'll just do that. And then, yeah, exile his annoying Cram, which I don't think really matters. And then grab an Expand Anatomy. After treating him, we should be able to win if the opponent doesn't have a sweeper. Combat Professor is pretty good. And he can give this Vigilance as well. No reason to block, so I can just... Honestly, I can just Study Break here and win rights. Yeah, we can be pretty much... So Study Break. And then probably just see the concession now. Inkling. The fact that I can cast this from 1 mana is pretty insane, so... Yeah. Held on to both our removal opening hand and didn't even need to fire it off. So... Alright, some 2-drops, and Guiding Poison Show can do something cute if we get another white source, so seems good. Alright, just run out Silverquill Apprentice first, although Leech Fanatic can be pretty awesome if we can get a ton of life with it, especially against maybe a red-white aggressive deck, so let's run out Leech this time. Especially with a 1/1 haste, we kind of want to offset his aggressive starts. Star Trickle's interesting, I guess he stays back now. Ooh, we could Humiliate, that's pretty good too. Let's see what he has, and right, Pilgrim of the Ages can be annoying. He has double Pigment Storm, which he can also eventually cast. Pilgrim is actually pretty annoying, it allows him to cast his 4-drop the next following turn, so let's get rid of that. Even though he could cast this on turn 6, I think this is fine. This way we can just gain so much life that yeah, he can't do much. So I probably don't want it to get any 4-powered creatures going, otherwise he can cast Defend the Campus. He could even choke the Star People, which I don't mind as well next turn. So let's move the combat attack. And he might chump and Infuriate, that's very interesting. I guess I can flunk in response and blow him out. It's a 2/2, but I don't care because this is a creature that also just wants to tap to make a creature unable to block anyway, so that's fine. And then, yeah, we'll just run out another 2-drop. Leech Fanatic. Then, hopefully not go over 4 power. I need the base, so or it might just be keeping up bunch of removal now. So I don't mind, I guess, Guiding Voice here, just to smash in. And then probably Inkling Summoning's fine. And then hopefully he doesn't top deck another land to kill my 3/3 with a Pigment Storm. Does he have a land? It's a Fuming Effigy, kind of annoying. So is there a way to kill this or get rid of it? I guess I'll have to wait. Since I can't double Guiding Voice, we'll just run out Eager First Year then. Pass. And I guess he can maybe take over with the Pigment Storm if we get in their lands. Okay, so he's running mono removal, I assume. And I'm actually hoping his 4/3 attack, so then I can Guiding Voice. I guess I'll Guiding Voice since the extra damage can matter now. Grab maybe an Academic Probation. Does that kill him? I mean, it's not bad. It makes him unable to block, and that can be quite huge. And I already have enough ways to put one counter, so I'll take an Academic Probation. I can put him down to 2 if I want, but I think I'm fine just attacking for 4. See if he just chomps. Nope. And just run out another 2-drop, so he can't really catch up with all this removal. Alright, finally gets his land, so he can double Pigment Storm now, which is kind of annoying. He actually attacks here. Wow, he actually attacks? Well, I don't think the opponent knows how to play the game because... yeah. Let's just do this. And smash for 3. Sure. Maybe it's a little bit harsh saying he doesn't know how to play the game, but yeah, that was definitely a huge mistake, but whatever. Could have had an out if he just stayed back and maybe killed all my stuff. That was my first time using Academic Probation as well. It's not a card I usually like to learn up, but the flexibility of it is really nice just to get, again, a blocker out of the way and get in for lethal. Right, well, we have a 2-drop and Combat Professor on 4. Seems fine. It's arguable to leave with Swamp just so the opponent might respect it and play around Lash of Malice. Alright, Eager First Year, Overleach Fanatic. Yeah, seems about right. Seems fine. Even though this can gain more life, again, I think the extra damage matters more when you're in an aggressive deck, and this could be like a much more mid-rangey deck. And yeah, we can Guiding Voice and attack past this, so let's just do it now. Which is a lot. Inkling Summoning isn't bad. Same with Expanded. Let's just grab an Inkling, and then attack for 4, and then run out Leech Fanatic, and then we'll see if we want to Guiding Voice again, or if we want to Combat Professor. So there's 2/2s, essentially forced to stay back on defense. If it's gonna stay back, I think I just run out maybe the Combat Professor, given that this can Magecraft at instant speed and block pretty well. If he runs out another creature and taps out, I can Combat Professor and maybe swing in with this, and then he's forced to like maybe double block, and that could also be okay. So he stays back. Alright, let's run out Combat Professor and just pass it. I don't think I want a Guiding Voice in the Inkling something, because he can still like Magecraft on defense, so we'll just pass the turn and do nothing. And then we can even Study Break next turn, we'll see. Not gonna run into an ambush. And Crushing Disappointments, yeah, would have ambushed me. But yeah, this card also makes him to lose 2 life, so it's actually not that great. So maybe it's like a Temur Control deck that's looking to play defense and then run a bunch of sweepers. So I might need to be a little bit careful on what I play out. Fine Gamut, I guess I don't have any permanents, so that's actually a pretty good card. That's pretty good here. You can also have a double black-like removal spell. So yeah, that actually was pretty effective. So next turn, do I want an Inkling Summoning? You can also just Guiding Voice. If he plays a second creature, I probably just want to Study Break. Like, yeah, if he plays this out, then I'll Study Break and get in for a good attack. Yeah, I think that's fine, and then we can even run out Inkling Summoning to enhance the creature as well. Get maybe Expanded Anatomy. You can also Expanded Anatomy as well. I mean, that deals a lot of damage in case he has a sweeper. Sure. Welcome to Silverquill, folks. If he passes a turn, I guess I could just Closing Statement and kill this, put a counter and then attack. He's forced to chump, or use a pump spell on defense, or provide a removal spell. Yeah, if he passes a turn, then I'm just going to Closing Statement on the 2/2. I'll also run this out, but this forces him in a bad spot. You could have a Beaming Defiance still. We'll see. I think it's still fine, trying to maybe bait it out at the very least. It's crazy how a bunch of cheap spells and lessons and a bunch of 2-drops can do so much. Alright, that's his own Closing Statement. Fair enough. Alright, I still get a 4/4 this turn. 5/4, so he's forced to chump anyway, so yeah. Could be interesting. I think I just run out of flyer here. I could also just attack and then maybe he uses a pump spell to get rid of this. It's a very interesting card. I mean, I don't know why he decided to do that. Good summoning. Could also just Spectre Fence. I mean, I don't mind attacking. This forces him to either chump or use a bunch of pump tricks to get rid of this, and I'm fine if he 2-for-1s himself or something just to pump and get this out of the way. So we'll see what his tricks are. And this is just going to remain a 0/1 unless he can put a bunch of Guiding Voices on it, so yeah, we'll see. Just chumps, alright. Guess I'll just run out Spectre Fence then, and then just pass. And then, yeah, we can start draining next turn as well. Hopefully he doesn't find a sweeper. If he does, we still have a backup Inkling Summoning. Keeps one on top, that's scary. So I'm hoping he doesn't find like a sweeper. It's a Silverquill Pledge Mage. I can still just attack for 4 and then drain him and keep the Spectre Fence back in case he tries to enable life gain. I could also Guiding Voice, I guess, on this. Very interesting. Yeah, let's just attack for 4. He's forced to block this and use a trick anyways. I mean, I could attack with both anyway, since even if he gives us flying and block, then this is still getting in, so might as well attack with both. And his best play is to block and then use a pump trick and gain life here. Yep. Show confidence, that's fair enough. sacrifice you to gain life. Then do I want to play around anything here? Yeah, I could play around Sweeper, just keep activating the Spectre. We'll say go. We don't need to run any of this stuff out when I can just constantly drain him. And he's forced to find spot removal. Leech Fanatic's kind of annoying though. Right, I guess that can offset some of my draining. So it's a pretty close match. Rise of Exodus, I guess, isn't bad. Yeah, I'll rise this. Just so he doesn't have life gain. And then I can still attack for 2. And learn. And then quick grab Academic Probation. Just to be safe. But, I mean, if I do, I can name a Sweeper, but then there's multiple Sweepers in the stats. I think I need to just take an Introduction to Annihilation, maybe. Let's see what's up. And then I can kill him next turn if he doesn't find an answer to Spectre Offense. And he finds his own Spectre Offense, alright. I guess he's forced to chop it by Guiding Voice. So that's fine. I guess if I exile it, nah, exiling is too much risk. Ooh, Academic Probation. Yeah, we're grabbing Academic Probation now. Force him to chump. Yeah, do I just run both creatures out? I guess I can. We can also hold on to this. Nah, I actually want this in the graveyard so I can cycle it. If he has a Sweeper here, stabilize. Alright, 2 more wins and we should be able to get there. And that can just round out our Strixhaven drafts. Not sure if I want to make another Strixhaven video, because again, it's kind of like, do you draft Silverquill or do you draft Temur Control or Quandrix Control? Like, I mean, like, very rarely you do end up in the busted red-white deck with a bunch of, like, bomb rares and gold, like Hoffrey and Laurel Velomachus and Lorho Command. Ooh, this is excellent. And then, yeah, it's just... And then Witterbloom really needs to come together to get going as well. Alright, so Killian can be pretty insane if I get my 4th land. So do I run him out? I think I do. It's still early, so there's not a ton of like do this. Unless it's Shock or like Lash him out, so that doesn't exist. Alright, so now what? We can Humiliate if we want to, or just Leech Fanatic. I'm kind of liking Guiding Voice plus Leech Fanatic here. I could also grab Expand Anatomy to have some fun too, because I can cast it for 1 mana with Killian, so yeah, let's do that as well. Let's run out Leech Fanatics. This is going to be a quick game if the opponent doesn't deal with Killian next turn. And yeah, those are not the mana to deal with it. He could have a Burying Bookstone, so I can maybe snatch it with Humiliate. I guess he could have Divide by 0 as well. Cultivate, alright, that might be a little bit too slow, so let's try to maybe snatch something from his hand and then maybe Expand Anatomy and smash for a ton of damage as well. Alright, red mana, so it is a Temur deck. So let's just do it now, just to be safe. And then, what's scary cards? There's a Burying Books, which is kind of annoying. This can also put the Burying Books back on top. Serpenting Curve is kind of whatever. This is actually pretty annoying too. Burying Books though is kind of annoying. I guess we can kill this next turn. No, we need to wait until turn 3. I mean, if we get we can just kill this honestly. The end of turn, which is fine. So yeah, let's snatch this Burying Books, and then let's put a counter here, and then I guess we just want to put a counter on Leech Fanatic because I guess he can. Yeah, since this might be able to trade, I guess I should maybe put on the Menace creature because he can then play his 5/5 down the block. Yeah, that might have been a little bit of an error, so we can kill this in the turn at the very least. I guess we can just kill it now. Yeah, this card's pretty stupid. Killian's just so dumb. Oh my god, I can't believe I can cast this for just 3 mana. And then we just kill him on, I guess, turn 4. So, yeah, card's just pretty ridiculous. And uncommon, so make sure you first pick Killian. Killian over Rutha makes sense. So, alright, one more game and we should be able to wrap up this video. So let's go. And to note, the best uncommons I think in this set are Igneous Inspiration, 3 mana sorcery, speed deal 3 damage to any target and learn. I guess it's 2 generic, 1 red. I think it's also Professor of Symbology, which is 1 generic, 1 white, 2/1 enters the battlefield, learn. Killian and those are top 4 uncommons I would take over the Environmental Sciences, but there's still some other uncommons. I guess Quandra's Apprentice I might take over Environmental Sciences, or Closing Statements. Alright, this is another decent start. Goldman Sachs, okay, so that's an interesting profile name. And yeah, I'll probably leave a Swamp to maybe make them play around Lash of Mouse. Yeah, the power of Eager first year cannot be denied. Right, Nilthorn Drake, kind of annoying. So we probably just want to establish Fort Griffins first before dealing with it. I could end the turn kill this, of course, but it's not as efficient if I can't get in for damage. Double Nilthorn Drake, sure. So maybe I'm fine trading off 1 Eager first year, since I don't want to, I only have 1 removal spell. Sure, that's good. Then next one we can maybe shoot down with the Closing Statements. We saw Rise of Exodus on 6 to do something as well. And pass the turn, so probably just move the end step in, cast Closing Statements, and hope it resolves. Hopefully no counterspell or hexproof trick. So hopefully no negates. And then we can start. Alright, that's good. So now we can start attacking with this next turn. And the opponent's stuck on 2 lands, so that's good. Now he gets his 3rd land. Maybe see a bounce spell. Impulsive Research, and he needs... That's pretty good. Draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards unless you discard land. Yeah, this card's excellent. Could be a first pick. But blue isn't amazing at common. It's a powerful support color for green, though. I think green is the better base color to be in this set, and then that's the same thing with black, you know, and white. Black is a support color just like blue in this format, but white's a better base color because they have all these strong commons like Guiding Voice and Study Break and Combat Professor. Whereas like the top blue commons are like, well, this card's 2 cards. So I guess he really needs his lands, sure. It's Guiding Voice here. Probably just gonna grab Inkling Summoning. Also Guiding Voice again. I mean, it doesn't hurt to just deal a ton of damage. Yeah, it doesn't hurt. Let's just do this again then. Then grab Expand. I mean, I can even do even more. But I think we just want to develop a creature just in case this can enter. And then smash it for 8. It's a lot, so. Gonna deal with my 5/5 on turn 3. And there's a Sevatress, which I can then exile. So, nice, and we can get rid of this. The Learner is just so powerful. Grab an Academic Probation, which will allow me to double spell if I need to lock something down. But that doesn't do anything, so. So cool, folks. Yeah, eager first year, getting the job done with Guiding Voice and Learn and Lesson. So. And there was also that one game where we had Killian, we killed him on turn 4, which was pretty insane. So yeah, Silverquill, also just a great deck in this format. So yeah, let's just do a quick overview, just very solid. Would have loved some Silverquill Pledge Mages on 3, which could fly over and deal some damage. Didn't see the Pillar Drop Rescuer once in this draft, so that's something to note. So yeah, we did play out Rise, closing obviously. I think we cast Allen Shieldmate like twice. Spectre Fens, there was one game where we had 2 of them in our opening hand, and we mulled 6, and that was the only game we lost against a Quandrix deck that had a bunch of Scourge colonies, and yeah, had the Stadium, which gained counters. Saw Combat Professor, Pilgrim we saw I think once. Yeah, I think we saw it once, and I think we only played it once too. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Saw this only like a few times as well. In one of our early matches, saw Killian maybe like 3 times. Humiliate was excellent. Leech, Flunk, Study Break, Show. Didn't catch our Show of Confidence combo, unfortunately, but I still think it's very good in this deck with all these triple Guiding Voices. And with Eager First Year, it's kind of insane. And yeah, Eager First Year was pretty much our MVP, along with Killian, I have to say. And maybe the closing statements. Yeah, we played out Unwilling Ingredient, but we never cast on turn 1. So yeah, just a straightforward black-white aggro deck, curving out, playing a lot of these cheap creatures, following them up with like removal spells, enhancing them with like Guiding Voice, flying over in the late game to try to close out, to do the final points of damage. So yeah, Silverquill is excellent, and that's probably just going to wrap up this video, but I can maybe talk a little bit about Strixhaven. Again, the best 2 colleges I would rank Silverquill as number 1, Quandrix as number 2, or Temur. So like, but you have to kind of be in blue-green base, splashing red. With some exceptions, if you somehow end up red, blue, splashing green, that's not wrong. But a lot of the red, blue, splashing green, that isn't wrong. But the red and blue, I feel like, are just support colors in the set. There's just not a lot of amazing commons and creatures in red and blue. For the most part, so that's the reason why Prismari isn't great. A lot of the red commons just are not amazing outside of like Heated Debate, and that yeah, most of them, if you see, are just a bunch of dorky creatures that, you know, aren't amazing at blocking. I mean, some of them are okay at blocking, but like it's just a weird mix. Like all the cards in the red seem like support cards that kind of play well either in Lorehold or in Prismari, and they just there's not real. It just doesn't. The thing about the red is that it just doesn't pair well with the rest of the other colors. Like red, white, has a bunch of these weird Lorehold grindy cards. Red, blue spells. I get it. Like, you know, you play a bunch of spells in blue, but there's just not a lot of amazing payoffs in Prismari, unfortunately. Like you can say Magecraft is a payoff, but there's also just not a lot of good Magecraft creatures in blue and red for the most part. So it would be like, I guess, Silverquill number 1, Quandrix Temur number 2, number 3 would be Witterbloom in my opinion, because green is pretty deep, and I think black is maybe slightly better support color than blue, and then Prismari number 4, and then Lorehold is just number 5, because you're better off just drafting black-white aggro over red-white aggro, and again, the red-white Lorehold grinding thing doesn't really come together at times. It just takes too much work, and the payoff really isn't all that exciting outside of making a bunch of 3/2 spirit tokens. So yeah, Reddit just gets the short end of the stick in this set. And then color rankings, between green and white, they're both pretty close. Maybe green slightly because a lot of their commons are just very flexible. Like Professor Zoomancy is just a house at 4 mana, 4/3 that makes a 1/1 token. Mage Duel is just a efficient removal spell. Even as a fight spell, the stat bonus really matters, and it's also instant speed. Whilst Field Trip is just a nice learn card, allows you to ramp in Quandrix a bit, and then learning is really, and it's a way to learn, which is very important. And then what's the other green common? Scourge Colony is also just a very solid 2-drop, being able to block flyers and trade off in the early game, and then late in the game it just blanks the rest of the flyers, and then the 4/4 in the late game is actually quite relevant. So yeah, green is pretty good at common. White's best commons are like Professor of Combat, the 4 mana 2/3 flyer. That's the mini Sarah Angel right here. And then between Guiding Voice and Study Break, I think I'd still take Guiding Voice, rank it higher than Study Break, since it's 1 mana, which is really efficient. The 1/1 counter is actually quite efficient as well. Yeah, it's just a question of mana difference. Since it's nice to just fall with a 2-drop, maybe play Guiding Voice into another 2-drop. And Study Break is also just quite efficient as well, being able to tap things down and learn. So that's quite good. And then best lessons, Inkling Summoning is number 1, Fractal Summoning as number 2, but it's not all that exciting since it's still a lot of mana to invest. Same with, I mean, there's also Elemental Summoning, but that's like number 3. Not as much mana, but it's just okay as well. And then Pest Summoning and the Lorehold Spirits are all just medium. Although I think the Pest Summonings are pretty important if you somehow end up Witterbloom, since it's very important to get some sack fodder going and some life gain synergies. But most of the time, Orzhov also just requires a lot more synergy to come together, whereas like in Quandrix and Silverquill, a lot of the cards are just generally just good, and you don't require much synergy to really make them work. Like, you know, Combat Professor is just a good card, Spectre Fens is just good, the block removal spells are good, whereas like in the Witterbloom decks, you kind of need the synergy to work together. You could obviously play black-white good stuff, and since green is a very deep color and black is a good support color, but generally speaking, you really need some synergy. I mean, it requires a little bit more synergy to get the better uncommons and the payoffs to get going. So Witterbloom suffers a little bit of that problem, and a lot of the Witterbloom uncommons are just kind of dorky, you know. They just aren't amazing. There's like Mortality Spear, which is a good removal, but then you have a bunch of these weird cards that require your creatures to die, or you have to sack your creature to do X, and that's kind of awkward at times, unless you have multiple like pest tokens. But Witterbloom can be really powerful, no doubt. With all the life gain going on, it's kind of interesting. And also Witterbloom isn't trying to ramp as much as well compared to Quandrix. Like, you could play the green like payoff cards for ramping, but they're not as good as they would be in Quandrix, unfortunately, because you get more of the hybrid color cards that pay you off for getting to 8 lands as well. So yeah, there's that. And then blue's commons. Let's get to that. Not much outside of like variant books. Maybe Serpentine Curve is the second best, and then maybe Pop Quiz, but Pop Quiz is also just a medium lesson card. But blue has some good uncommons though, like Divide by Zero. But most of the best blue commons are like hybrid color, so it's good. It's ones that are like blue green obviously, and then blue red's also has some good commons like Elemental Masterpiece as a standout curve topper that you could splash. I guess that's the only one. And then I guess there's Expressive Iteration 2 at Uncommon. Magma Opus, obviously a bomb, but that's like a mythic. So blue's more of a support card. And then black's best commons are like Hunt for Specimens, which is a 2-mana make a pest token learn. There's the Lash of Malice, and then Mage Hunter's Onslaught, so just good removal. And then Rise of Exodus is pretty good too. And then yeah, I guess you have solid 2-drops like Leech Fanatic. Even Essence Infusion could be fine. The 2-mana put 2 encounters gain life, and Inspector Fence is okay. So yeah, I think for sure green and white's commons stand out the most. Blue and black are somewhere in between. They're just good support colors. And yeah, red's a support color, but the rest of their commons are just bad. And there's only like really one excellent uncommon, which is Igneous Inspiration. So yeah, I guess I'm hoping that's enough content to digest. And let's crack the pack. Let's see what we open. Blue Capenna. Alright, we'll do another set. Easy. Citizen's Crowbar. Best common here is like Broker's Hideout. If you somehow end up base blue-black, Glamorous Outlaw is a fine curve topper, but Citizen's Crowbar is quite good. And then Echo Inspector, probably the best common here. Hypnotic Grifter is fine too, but not over Echo Inspector. Hypnotic Grifter, not that amazing in the early game, but in the late game it's fine. You can use this to ditch away some lands. But I find that in this set you're just conniving so much, and you're just conniving so much. Like Hypnotic Grifter, it's kind of like a fallback card if you don't have a bunch of connive or you run out of connive cards. So it's okay, but it's not that impressive. Grisly Sigil is a pretty good uncommon for black, but better off in a deck full of Casualty and Blitz creatures to sack. I would still take Hypnotic Grifter because I think blue is a more flexible color, and although, I mean, yeah, black is as flexible as blue, I guess, but blue can lead you into blue-white, and white is the best color in the set, so you kind of want to gravitate towards white. Yeah, but yeah, Echo Inspector is great. And then Mayhem Patrol, if you end up black-red aggro, is pretty good too. So, pretty decent pack, but I would take Echo Inspector. And then let's do some Strixhaven draft. Alright. Yeah, Channel's not amazing. It's probably between Shadewing Laureate and Frost Trickster. Probably just take Shadewing, since it's in Silverquill, and the counters are relevant. And yeah, Frost Trickster is okay in Quandrix, but and even in Prismari it's also just okay, but given the fact that, you know, blue-green is not aggressive, this card is not that amazing. You could be in blue-red aggro, but then you rather just have instances and sorceries over just a 3-mana 2/2 flyer that taps things down. So you rather just trigger Magecraft and have a bunch of creatures out, since yeah, Prismari is more about like playing a evasive creature or a 2-mana Pledge Mage, play an instant or sorcery on turn 3, and then smash, as opposed to just running out Frost Trickster. Fine common, everyone thought this was the best blue common, but it turns out Burying Books is just better, and there's not a lot of blue commons that are great. And I guess I should mention this as a top blue common, but even then it's not all that impressive. Yeah, I would probably just take Shadewing Laureate here. Shadewing Laureates. Quick Summoning versus Burying Books. Interesting choice. Probably still take Inkling because it's Silverquill and that's better. And I would take Burying Books over Fractal. Fractal, again, good lesson in Quandrix, but again, it's a lot of mana to invest. And believe it or not, the two green and the double blue and is actually quite a little bit detrimental for the Fractal summoning token, since the extra toughness and power actually matters. So like when you're casting Leyline Invocation on 6, you can at least get a 6/6, but if you cast Fractal Summoning on 6, you only get a 4/4. So that's a bit of an issue. So it requires a lot of mana to invest to actually make this quite large. And then you don't really want to make this into a 4/4 early on unless you have to. So you rather just make this into like an 8/8 or a 9/9, but that's still like 10 mana. Still a solid common, but I still think I'd take Burying Books over it. I've kind of come down on this lesson, but I would take it if I'm obviously in Quandrix. And in Prismari, you're not running a ton of lands, so it's actually underwhelming. Yeah, Mage Hunter's Onslaught is just good removal. It's funny we passed this up for, I think, another card. The 3-mana 2/1 that got us a land just to fill in the curve, and since we have a decent amount of removal already. But this card is definitely better than that one. And yeah, if they block, they lose a life, so losing a life matters. So I do like this. But there's, again, learn less in this set, so it kind of suffers the similar fate as removal in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty and New Capenna, where there's a lot of these good cards that just replace themselves. So even if you killed a creature, it already drew them a card or did some damage or did something. Still solid, and I would take it out of this pack anyways. Pigment Storm, I guess, could be the second best red common, but still very clunky at 5. And it's sorcery speed, so yeah, just way worse than Mage Hunter's Onslaught. And Introduction to Prophecy, fine. Lesson, could take it or leave it, but it's fine. Witterbloom Apprentice is a good uncommon for Witterbloom. So yeah, and then this is one of those weird uncommons in Witterbloom that I was just mentioning about. Yeah, this is a card you want with a creature with lots of power, and there's not a ton of them. There is the Demogorgon Titan, I guess, and Woe Eater. And if you do get the Titan, which is a rare, and sacrifice it and make 11 pest tokens, that's really powerful, but you would have to get the rare and this card to make it work. So it's fine. It's I guess it's good. You know, you can use this to, you know, get some sack value if your creature's gonna die, to play around like a removal spell. But you know, it's still kind of like this weird card, you know, that's only good with synergistic Witterbloom decks. So yeah, Mage Hunter Onslaught would take over it, and plus I want to beat Silverquill over Witterbloom. Ignis Inspiration, this is one of the best uncommons. Again, Ignis Inspirations, Professor of Symbology, Kilian, and Rutha, or Rutha Mercurial Artists are the 4 best uncommons in the set. I'm not sure how I would rank them, but they're all pretty close. This one is probably the best one because it's monocolored, and it's just removal. So, and it learns. So, yeah, I think I would maybe rank this as the best uncommon in the set. Although, again, red is not a good color beam, but this is a card you want to splash regardless in Quandrix. So it's more like a Quandrix card, anyways. And then at common, Quandrix Pledge Mage, and then there's Silverquill Apprentice. Both of these are close too. Probably lean towards Apprentice since I'd rather be in Silverquill, but Ignis Inspiration is definitely the best uncommon here, or the best card. So, alright, I think that's gonna do it. Yeah, I'm just not excited about New Capenna Draft. I made like 2 videos on it, and I'm already bored and tired of it. There's just not much going on. It just suffers as... it's just way worse than Strixhaven, and even though Strixhaven you're kind of limited into 2 college, at least they have some very good commons that stand out. A lot of them, that is, and in this set it's kind of like just very few commons. It's very easy to just pinpoint the best card and take it from there. Whereas like Strixhaven, there's still a little bit of brain power to adjust and a lot of interesting options, but yeah, it's just not amazing. It's just a 2-color aggro set disguised as a 3-color shard set. Yeah, you don't really even follow any of these rules. You're just 2-color ally, like blue-white, blue-black, black-red, red-black, and God forbid you don't end up in red-green, and I guess there's green-white. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, we'll call it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoy my videos, and yeah, stay safe. Bye.